You've been told that releasing stress and anxiety comes from escaping your problems, from finding the perfect life, or from having everything go your way. But if that were true, why do so many people with everything they've ever wanted still feel overwhelmed, anxious, or restless? Why does your mind keep racing at night, stuck in a loop of worries, unable to truly relax? The truth is, releasing stress and anxiety isn't something you chase, it's something you create from within. And Stoic philosophy holds the key. For centuries, the greatest minds in history, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, taught us that true calm, true resilience, and true freedom from anxiety don't come from avoiding life's struggles. They come from mastering your mind. Tonight, as you listen to these Stoic sleep meditations, something powerful will begin to shift. Your mind will slow down. The weight of stress and anxiety will begin to lift. You'll feel a sense of calmness washing over you, like the quiet after a storm. The tension you've carried will start to dissolve, leaving you feeling lighter, more at ease. This isn't just another way to pass time before bed. This is your opportunity to truly let go. Tomorrow, when you wake up, you'll feel stronger, more at peace, and in control. So, are you ready to release the stress, the anxiety, and the overthinking, to step into a world of relaxation and clarity? Let's begin. As the night falls and the world quiets around you, your mind may still be racing. The weight of the day lingers, those stressful moments, unresolved thoughts, and the endless to-do lists that haunt you long after the sun sets. This is the time when many of us struggle the most, not with what has happened, but with what hasn't yet happened. The anxiety of the unknown, the fear of what tomorrow may bring, and the nagging feeling of unfinished business. All these things can make it feel impossible to find true rest. But the Stoics knew something crucial. Sleep is not just about resting the body. It is an opportunity for the mind to let go, to stop carrying the burden of the day, and to prepare for the next with clarity. They understood that true peace comes not from escaping our thoughts, but from learning how to approach them differently. It's about calming the mind, finding a sense of purpose in the present, and not letting the worries of today spill over into tomorrow. Stoic sleep meditation isn't just a technique. It's a philosophy, a way of living that stretches into your bedtime routine. It isn't about ignoring the stress or pretending it doesn't exist. It's about changing your relationship with it, seeing it through the lens of acceptance and control. Tonight, as you settle into sleep, these Stoic practices will help you release the anxiety that binds you, creating a mental space where rest becomes not just a break, but a healing process. The techniques we'll explore together tonight will guide you through a journey of letting go, shedding the weight of your thoughts, and embracing the calm you deserve. At the heart of Stoic sleep meditation is the idea of preparing the mind to rest. This isn't about pushing thoughts away, but about allowing them to settle naturally. Stoic philosophers believed in using reflection to release the burden of stress. Before sleep, they took moments to reflect on their actions, acknowledging what they could control and what they couldn't. This simple yet profound practice allowed them to fall asleep with peace, knowing they had done their best for the day and that tomorrow would take care of itself. One of the most powerful ways the Stoics practiced this was through mindfulness. They did not simply lie in bed waiting for sleep to come. They approached it as a sacred time, one where the mind could let go of its attachments to the chaos of the day. By practicing a form of mindful reflection, you too can learn to release the burdens that have weighed you down. Focus on what you can control: your thoughts, your feelings, and your reaction to events. What happened earlier may not change, but your peace doesn't need to be disrupted by it. Tonight, you will learn to take control of this moment, preparing your mind for a restful, peaceful sleep. The key to this Stoic sleep meditation is learning to release the unnecessary. We all hold on to thoughts that don't serve us, thoughts of regret, worry, and anxiety. These are the remnants of the day, the residue of things that no longer matter. The Stoics believed in letting go of what doesn't serve the present moment. As you prepare for sleep, allow yourself to mentally let go of these distractions. Acknowledge them, accept them, but do not carry them into your night. Your rest should not be weighed down by yesterday's concerns or tomorrow's fears. With every breath, focus on releasing these thoughts. Let them pass through your mind, like leaves floating on a river, and allow them to drift away. In this way, you begin to train your mind to be free of unnecessary clutter. This will not only allow you to rest better, but it will transform how you approach your day-to-day life. You'll start to realize that your peace is always within reach, as long as you know how to clear the mental space. The Stoics also practiced gratitude before sleep. Reflecting on the day with gratitude helps to shift your perspective. Instead of focusing on what went wrong or what didn't happen, focus on what went well. Even in the most difficult moments, there are lessons to be learned and growth to be found. This gratitude practice can reshape your mind, allowing you to release anxiety and focus on what is good and meaningful. As you prepare for sleep, think about the things you are grateful for: your health, the relationships in your life, or even the small moments of beauty you encountered today. This shift in focus will create a sense of contentment and peace as you fall asleep, without the nagging feeling of anxiety or stress. Moreover, the Stoics practiced the idea of accepting the things they could not change. Stress often arises from our constant battle against the uncontrollable. The Stoics embraced the idea that there are forces beyond our control, and that's okay. By accepting this, we release the need to force our will on every situation. Before sleep, remind yourself that tomorrow is not in your hands. Whatever happens, you can handle it. You are resilient. This acceptance brings with it a sense of calm, freeing you from the anxiety of the unknown. It's a powerful practice to incorporate before bedtime, as it allows your mind to relax and your body to rest. Through these simple Stoic practices, mindful reflection, gratitude, and acceptance, you will gradually release the weight of the day. These practices don't require long hours of meditation or deep reflection. They can be integrated into your bedtime routine in just a few moments. They allow you to acknowledge your thoughts without being controlled by them, giving you the mental clarity to enter a peaceful sleep. As you lie in bed, focus on each of these practices. Acknowledge the stress, but release its grip on you. Let your body relax and feel the tension melt away. Focus on your breath, slowly inhaling, then exhaling. With each exhale, let go of the day's burdens. Allow the calmness to fill you, and know that this time is for you. Sleep is not a punishment, nor a time for endless worry. It is a sacred time for restoration, for healing, and for peace. By applying Stoic meditation before bed, you begin to reclaim your right to a restful and rejuvenating sleep. You free yourself from the constant pressure of overthinking, and you allow your mind the space to rest. By incorporating these Stoic practices into your nighttime routine, you'll find that over time, your relationship with sleep transforms. No longer will you lie awake, stressed or anxious. Instead, you'll find yourself drifting into restful sleep with ease, knowing that the day's worries are behind you and tomorrow will unfold as it is meant to. The power to release stress and anxiety lies within you, and by using the wisdom of the Stoics, you will unlock it. As you continue to practice these techniques, you'll notice that your sleep becomes deeper and more restful. You'll wake up feeling refreshed, knowing that you've let go of the day's worries and that you are ready for whatever comes next. This is the true gift of Stoic sleep meditation, not just restful sleep, but the ability to reclaim your peace, your clarity, and your sense of control. Each night, as you practice these techniques, you're strengthening your mental resilience and building a foundation of peace that will support you throughout the day ahead. The Stoics understood that we cannot control everything, but we can always control our response. They taught us to find peace, not by avoiding stress, but by learning how to live with it. By embracing this mindset before sleep, you'll find that stress and anxiety don't have to follow you into the night. Instead, they will be replaced by a sense of calm and tranquility. Your sleep will no longer be a battlefield of thoughts. It will become a time of true restoration, a time to let go and to embrace the healing power of rest. This practice of Stoic sleep meditation is about creating a peaceful space for your mind, letting go of all that isn't necessary, and welcoming the night as a time to recover and renew. Each time you use these techniques, you'll find that you can release more and more stress, freeing yourself from the grip of anxiety and overthinking. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, remember, the Stoic way isn't about striving for perfection. It's about allowing yourself the grace to rest, knowing that tomorrow is a new opportunity to continue your journey with clarity and strength. As you let go of the day's burdens and drift into sleep, remember the wisdom of the Stoics. Peace is not a destination, it is a practice, and tonight you are practicing peace. As you lay there, feeling the tension begin to lift from your body, another thought starts to creep in. The worry about what lies ahead. The weight of the future pulls at your mind, causing it to race. What will tomorrow bring? Will you meet your goals, or will you fall short again? How will you handle the challenges waiting for you? This anxiety about the future is something we all face, whether it's the fear of failure, the pressure to succeed, or the uncertainty of what's to come. The Stoics understood this feeling all too well, and they gave us a way to cope with it, a way to stop the relentless worry about the unknown and focus on what we can actually control. Instead of letting anxiety about the future cloud your present, they taught us to live in the moment. When you allow your mind to focus on tomorrow's problems, you stop living today. The Stoics believed that the key to freedom from anxiety about the future is to let go of the illusion that we can predict what will happen. They understood that most of the stress we carry is rooted in things we can't control, so they offered a simple yet powerful meditation practice. Live in the present moment. This is not about denying the future, but about fully engaging with the now, so you can face what's coming with a calm, clear mind. By focusing on the present, you release the pressure to have everything figured out. Instead of worrying about what might go wrong or obsessing over what you still need to do, you begin to see that the only thing you can do is make the most of right now. This kind of meditation teaches you to let go of your attachment to time, allowing you to step out of the spiral of future-focused anxiety and into a state of inner peace. When you stop living in the future, the present moment becomes all that matters. This shift in mindset allows you to fully experience life as it unfolds, without the distractions of worry. And it's exactly what the Stoics practiced. In their teachings, the Stoics spoke about the futility of worrying about things that haven't happened yet. They understood that the future is beyond our control, and by continually attaching ourselves to it, we waste our energy on something that doesn't exist. The future is always just out of reach, and trying to grasp it only causes stress and dissatisfaction. By accepting that the future is not something we can control, the Stoics encouraged a shift in perspective, a perspective that embraces the present, recognizing it as the only time we have. The act of shifting your attention away from the future and into the present can have a profound impact on your mental health. It helps to calm the mind, release stress, and promote relaxation. When you stop focusing on what could happen and instead focus on what is happening right now, you free yourself from the emotional weight that comes with time-based anxiety. You start to realize that all the stress about the future is, in a sense, imaginary. It hasn't happened yet, and therefore it isn't real. One of the key Stoic exercises that can help with this is a form of mindfulness meditation. It's about training your mind to stay anchored in the present, recognizing and acknowledging the thoughts of the future, but not allowing them to take hold of your peace. Instead of allowing these thoughts to spiral, you gently acknowledge them and let them pass by. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes to stay grounded in the now. This practice doesn't require deep, complicated techniques. It's about consistently bringing your focus back to the present, even when your mind starts to wander into the future. It's as simple as taking a moment to breathe, to center yourself, and to remind yourself that now is all you have. When you practice living in the moment, you begin to see that much of what you worry about in the future doesn't actually matter. We tend to focus on outcomes, but in truth, the journey is where we find our growth. By embracing the present, you allow yourself to fully experience the process, not just the end goal. It's in this way that the Stoics were able to navigate life with resilience. They didn't live in fear of the future. They lived fully in the moment, knowing that it was the only thing they had control over. This sense of calm that comes from living in the moment is essential for overcoming future anxiety. When you stop attaching your sense of self-worth to things that haven't happened yet, you allow yourself the freedom to act without fear. You make decisions based on what is best for you right now, rather than trying to predict every possible outcome. This shift in thinking reduces anxiety, as you no longer feel trapped by the pressure of an uncertain future. Instead, you move forward with confidence, knowing that you are doing your best with what you have right now. Anxiety about the future often arises from a sense of powerlessness, a feeling that you cannot handle what's to come. But the Stoics believed in a different approach. They taught that while we cannot control the future, we can control how we respond to it. And by practicing mindfulness and staying focused on the present, we build the inner strength needed to face whatever challenges lie ahead. The key to this Stoic meditation is learning to detach from the future without losing sight of your goals. The Stoics didn't reject the idea of planning for the future. Instead, they encouraged acceptance of whatever comes without attaching yourself to the outcomes. The future will unfold as it will, and your job is to be prepared, not by worrying about it, but by building the strength and resilience to meet it head-on. By practicing these principles of present moment awareness, you also develop a sense of inner peace that transcends time. The more you focus on the now, the less anxious you become about what is to come. This allows you to live more fully, with a sense of tranquility and clarity that enriches your life. You will no longer feel overwhelmed by the weight of time, and instead, you will approach each moment with a sense of purpose and calm. The Stoics understood that time itself is an illusion. What they meant by this is that time is a concept we create in our minds. It's an abstract idea that doesn't truly exist in the way we think it does. The present moment is all that ever truly exists, and by shifting our attention away from the future, we can free ourselves from the tyranny of time. The act of focusing on the present moment doesn't mean you stop planning for the future or thinking about what comes next. It means you stop living in fear of it. It means you accept that the future will unfold as it will, and that worrying about it only robs you of the beauty of the now. As you continue to practice this form of Stoic meditation, you'll notice that your sense of anxiety about the future starts to fade. It won't happen overnight, but with consistent practice, you'll begin to feel more grounded and centered. You'll find that your mind becomes less cluttered and your heart feels lighter. This meditation practice isn't just a tool for sleep, it's a way to transform your approach to life. The more you practice present moment awareness, the less you'll feel trapped by the future. You'll no longer allow the weight of what's to come to dominate your thoughts. Instead, you'll find peace in the present, knowing that you are doing your best right now, and that's all you can do. This shift in perspective, this focus on the present, is one of the most powerful tools for overcoming future anxiety. It's not about avoiding the future, but about accepting that it will come, and you will face it with calm and clarity. By embracing this Stoic approach, you begin to see that the future is not something to fear. It is simply another part of life, and like all parts of life, it will come and go. And when it does, you'll be ready to meet it, not with fear, but with the strength and resilience you've built through living in the present. The Stoics taught us that true peace comes not from avoiding time or future concerns, but from accepting them and choosing to live fully in the moment. By doing so, you begin to transform not only your nights, but your days as well. Anxiety about the future no longer has the power to control you, and instead, you step into each moment with clarity, calm, and confidence. As you continue to practice these Stoic techniques, you'll find that the anxiety you once felt about the future begins to fade. It will be replaced with a sense of peace, knowing that you can only control your actions today. The future will unfold, but it doesn't need to dictate how you live now. The more you embrace the present, the more freedom you find from the worries of tomorrow. Through this simple but profound practice, you'll unlock the power to live with less fear, less stress, and less anxiety. Instead, you'll find peace in knowing that the present moment is all you truly need. The future will come, but you will face it with the unshakable calm that only living in the now can bring. As you embrace the present moment, letting go of future worries, a different challenge arises. Your mind still buzzes with the clutter of today. The stress, the unfinished tasks, the swirling thoughts that never seem to stop. Despite your best efforts, it feels as though your brain is a constant whirlwind of activity. This mental noise can be overwhelming, leaving you feeling drained and unable to rest. You've released the weight of tomorrow, but now you must face the chaos of your thoughts. In this moment, the Stoics offer us a powerful technique, the practice of creating empty space in the mind. This practice is about more than just quieting your thoughts. It's about intentionally clearing the mental clutter that occupies your mind, allowing you to step into a space of clarity and peace. The Stoics understood that the key to mental strength and serenity is not in constantly battling your thoughts, but in giving yourself the space to just be. Clearing mental clutter is not a simple task. It requires focus and intention. The mind tends to be full of distractions, worries, regrets, and plans. These thoughts, while they may seem necessary, only serve to keep you trapped in an endless cycle of overthinking. The Stoic approach is not about eliminating thoughts altogether, but about giving yourself permission to step back from them. Instead of being consumed by the noise in your mind, you allow yourself to pause, create mental distance, and make room for peace. To practice the Stoic empty space technique, the first step is to acknowledge the clutter in your mind. Every thought, worry, or emotional reaction that arises has its place, but not all of them need to occupy your attention at once. The key is not to suppress these thoughts, but to observe them without attachment. Instead of letting your mind race, notice the thoughts that come and go and recognize that they are simply passing through. You do not need to hold on to them. You do not need to engage with them. The Stoics emphasize the importance of detachment, removing yourself from the constant pull of your thoughts. Seneca wrote about how our minds can become slaves to distractions, constantly pulling us in different directions. He advised not to be overwhelmed by the clutter, but to separate ourselves from it. This means observing your thoughts without allowing them to control you. Every thought, every worry, every fleeting idea is like a cloud passing through the sky of your mind. They are temporary. They don't define you. By creating this space between you and your thoughts, you allow yourself to experience the present moment with a clear mind. This space is where true peace resides. It's a place where you are no longer defined by the constant chatter of your inner dialogue. This is where clarity begins. The more you practice this technique, the more you'll find that your thoughts do not dominate your life. They no longer have the power to overwhelm you, and you begin to experience moments of deep stillness. To clear mental clutter effectively, it helps to begin with your breath. The Stoics often used breathing as a means of regaining control over their thoughts and emotions. The simple act of focusing on your breath creates an immediate shift in your mental state. It forces your attention away from the swirling chaos and into the calm, steady rhythm of your body. As you inhale, imagine you're drawing in peace and clarity. As you exhale, release the mental noise and tension that have built up throughout the day. With every breath, allow your mind to quiet. Imagine your thoughts as fleeting and transient, like leaves floating on a stream. Let them pass by without clinging to them. As you deepen this practice, you'll find that the clutter naturally begins to clear. You create room for inner stillness, where you can rest in the present moment without the distractions of overthinking. Another aspect of the Stoic empty space technique is the practice of mental decluttering through intentional pauses. In your busy life, it's easy to get caught in the cycle of constant doing, constantly thinking, constantly reacting. But the Stoics understood the importance of taking time to simply pause. These moments of stillness are not wasted time. They are an opportunity to reset your mind, to return to a state of clarity. Throughout your day, make space for these moments of pause. They don't have to be long. Even a few seconds of intentional silence can make a significant difference. In these brief moments, focus on nothing but your breath. Let go of the thoughts that are racing through your mind and simply exist in the stillness. This creates a powerful mental reset, allowing you to approach your tasks with more focus and calm. The more you incorporate these intentional pauses into your routine, the more you'll notice that your mind becomes naturally clearer. The constant clutter and noise begin to fade into the background, leaving space for clarity and peace. You'll find that instead of reacting to life's challenges with anxiety or overthinking, you are able to respond with calm and intentionality. The Stoics also taught us the value of focusing on what truly matters. So often, mental clutter arises from the distractions of the trivial, the unnecessary, and the irrelevant. We spend our mental energy on things that do not contribute to our peace or well-being. By practicing mindfulness, we can start to identify the thoughts that serve us and those that don't. One effective Stoic technique for clearing mental clutter is to reflect on the day's events with a critical eye. What thoughts were helpful? What worries were grounded in reality? What anxieties were unnecessary? By regularly practicing this form of reflection, you can start to weed out the mental clutter that doesn't serve your well-being. Over time, you'll develop a clearer sense of what is truly worth your attention and what can be safely let go of. The Stoic practice of self-reflection is also a way of gaining insight into our mental habits. Often we are unaware of the patterns of overthinking that consume us. We may spend hours worrying about things that are out of our control or replaying conversations in our heads that no longer matter. Through reflection, we can uncover these patterns and start to break free from them. By recognizing when our thoughts are becoming cluttered, we can consciously choose to let go of them and create more space for clarity. Clearing mental clutter doesn't mean that we eliminate every thought. Instead, it's about giving yourself the freedom to let go of the thoughts that no longer serve you. It's about creating a mental environment that fosters peace, allowing you to approach each day with a clearer, more focused mind. This mental space is where true resilience is built. It's where we cultivate the ability to respond to life's challenges with calm and clarity, rather than being overwhelmed by them. The Stoic empty space technique also involves the practice of gratitude. When we focus on the positive aspects of our lives, we begin to shift our attention away from the clutter that fills our minds. Gratitude is a powerful tool for clearing mental space because it directs our focus toward what is good and meaningful. By regularly practicing gratitude, you train your mind to seek out the positive rather than dwelling on the negative. Before bed, take a moment to reflect on the things you are grateful for. This can be a simple practice, but it has a profound impact on your mental state. As you reflect on the positive aspects of your day, your mind naturally shifts away from the clutter of worries and stress. Gratitude creates space in your mind for peace, for contentment, and for relaxation. This practice will help you end your day on a calm note, clearing mental clutter and allowing you to rest peacefully. Another essential element of the empty space technique is the idea of acceptance. The Stoics taught that we cannot control everything, and by accepting what is beyond our control, we create more space for peace. Mental clutter often arises from our attempts to control every aspect of our lives, but by acknowledging that there are things we simply cannot change, we free ourselves from the need to overthink them. Acceptance allows us to release the mental grip we have on uncontrollable circumstances, making room for clarity and peace. This acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It means recognizing that some things are beyond our influence and choosing to focus on what we can control: our thoughts, our actions, and our responses. By letting go of the need to control everything, we create space for resilience, for growth, and for peace. As you practice the Stoic empty space technique, you will find that over time, the mental clutter that once overwhelmed you begins to fade. Your thoughts become clearer and your mind becomes more focused. You will experience moments of stillness that were once elusive, and in those moments, you will find the peace and clarity that the Stoics lived by. This practice of creating mental space is not a quick fix. It's a lifelong journey, one that requires patience and consistent effort. But the rewards are profound. As you clear the mental clutter, you will find that you approach life with greater calm, greater clarity, and greater resilience. The noise of the world will no longer dictate your mental state. Instead, you will find peace in the stillness, space in the quiet, and strength in the clarity you've created. The Stoic empty space technique is a powerful tool for decluttering the mind and releasing the grip of overthinking. By practicing this technique regularly, you create the mental environment necessary for peace and clarity. You give yourself the freedom to let go of unnecessary thoughts and focus on what truly matters. With time and practice, this technique will help you approach life with greater focus, resilience, and inner calm. As you continue to practice mental decluttering through Stoic meditation, you'll notice that your mind becomes more peaceful, more focused, and more resilient. The clutter that once consumed you will no longer have the power to overwhelm you. You'll find yourself entering each day with a clearer, more intentional mindset. And as you do, you'll experience the true freedom that comes from mastering your mind and creating space for clarity and peace. As you clear the mental clutter and begin to find moments of stillness, another challenge arises: the pressure and weight of stress. Stress has a way of sneaking up on us, whether it's from daily pressures, work demands, or life's unpredictable moments. In these times, it's easy for the mind to spiral out of control, overwhelmed by what feels like an endless onslaught of worry. But the Stoics understood that while we cannot always control what happens around us, we can always control how we respond to it. One of the most powerful tools they gave us is the ability to use our breath as a means of finding inner strength. The Stoic breath of resilience is more than just a relaxation technique. It's a tool for building mental fortitude, for confronting anxiety head-on, and for cultivating a calm, resilient mindset in the face of stress. This practice starts with a simple yet profound realization: your breath is always with you. It's the one constant in a world that often feels chaotic. The Stoics saw the breath not just as a physical process, but as a gateway to mental control. By focusing on the breath, you can reclaim control over your body and mind, no matter the stress or anxiety you may face. Intentional breathing is a key aspect of Stoic meditation. The idea is to use the breath as an anchor, to root yourself in the present moment and quiet the noise of the world around you. In moments of stress, the natural tendency is often to hold the breath or breathe erratically. This only exacerbates the feeling of tension. But when you practice deep, deliberate breathing, you activate your body's natural relaxation response, which helps reduce the effects of stress and calm the mind. One of the fundamental breathing techniques rooted in Stoic philosophy is the slow, deep breath. The Stoics believed in slowing down the pace of life, which extends to how we breathe. When stress starts to rise, the instinctive reaction is often to speed up, to become tense and reactive. Stoic breathing works in direct opposition to this natural response, encouraging a deliberate and controlled pace. The key to Stoic breathing is to take slow, deep breaths through the nose, allowing the air to fill your lungs completely. Hold for a moment, and then exhale slowly through your mouth, releasing not just the breath, but the tension that builds in your body. This technique helps to calm the nervous system, lowering your heart rate and blood pressure, and creating a sense of inner peace. It's in this moment of deep, controlled breathing that the Stoics found their greatest strength. The breath becomes a source of resilience, something you can rely on when everything else feels out of control. When you breathe intentionally, You signal to your body that it's safe to relax, to release, and to face whatever comes next with calm and clarity. But breathing exercises go beyond just physical relaxation. They also help to center the mind. The Stoics understood that in order to handle stress, we must first clear the mind of distractions. By focusing on your breath, you draw your attention away from the mental noise and into the present moment. You allow yourself to simply exist without the constant pull of overthinking. Each breath is a moment of pause, a chance to reset your mindset and fortify yourself against the pressures that life throws your way. It's through this practice that you build mental fortitude. The more you use your breath to ground yourself, the more you strengthen your ability to stay calm under pressure. This isn't just about handling stress in the moment, it's about building the inner strength to face any challenge with resilience, knowing that you have the power to maintain your composure no matter what comes your way. The Stoics believed that adversity was a part of life, and the key to overcoming it wasn't in avoiding it, but in how we respond. By training ourselves to breathe with purpose, we practice the art of resilience. We learn to face stress with clarity, allowing the breath to guide us through even the most difficult situations. This isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending stress doesn't exist. It's about choosing how we respond to it. As you practice Stoic-inspired breathing, you begin to notice a shift in how you handle stress. The situations that once sent you into a spiral of anxiety no longer hold the same power over you. Instead of reacting with panic, you pause, take a deep breath, and approach the challenge with calm confidence. This shift happens gradually, but with consistent practice, it becomes a natural response. Incorporating breathing into your daily routine creates a foundation for resilience that supports you in every area of your life. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment to use the technique. It's about making breathing a regular part of how you approach life. You start to breathe with intention, even in the small moments, building a steady stream of calm that carries you through the day. One of the most important aspects of Stoic breathing is the ability to create space between stimulus and response. Life often throws challenges our way that trigger stress. These triggers can come from work, relationships, health, or anything else. But Stoic breathing teaches us to create a pause between the event and our reaction to it. Instead of immediately reacting with anxiety or frustration, we take a deep breath, giving ourselves the time and space to choose our response. This pause is where resilience is built. It's where we gain control over how we handle stress rather than letting stress control us. When you practice intentional breathing, you give yourself the opportunity to respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. This moment of pause, however brief, helps you tap into your inner strength and makes it possible to face any challenge with composure and clarity. The Stoic breath of resilience is also a practice of self-mastery. It's about learning to control your body's natural responses to stress and redirecting that energy toward calmness and focus. By consciously slowing your breath and focusing your attention on each inhale and exhale, you take control of your mental and physical state. This isn't just a technique for reducing stress in the moment, it's a tool for building long-term resilience. Over time, the more you practice Stoic breathing, the more you strengthen your ability to remain calm in the face of adversity. You begin to build a mental reservoir of strength that you can draw from in any situation. The breath becomes your anchor, helping you navigate life's challenges with a calm and resilient mindset. This practice also teaches you to be present. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of thoughts and worries. But the Stoics understood that true strength lies in our ability to remain grounded in the present moment. By focusing on your breath, you center your attention on what is happening right now, not on what might happen in the future or what has happened in the past. This mindfulness creates a sense of calm, allowing you to approach each situation with clarity and composure. Another benefit of Stoic breathing is its ability to reduce the physical symptoms of stress. When we are stressed, our bodies often respond with tight muscles, shallow breathing, and increased heart rate. These physical responses can contribute to a cycle of stress, making it harder to relax and regain control. Stoic breathing helps to break this cycle by encouraging deep, slow breaths that relax the body and bring the nervous system into balance. This not only reduces the immediate effects of stress, but also helps to prevent the build-up of tension over time. As you practice Stoic-inspired breathing techniques, you begin to notice how much of your stress is tied to your physical state. By taking control of your breath, you influence your body's response to stress, creating a sense of calm and relaxation that permeates every aspect of your life. This physical relaxation, combined with the mental clarity you gain from focusing on the breath, creates a powerful foundation for resilience. The Stoics believed that true strength is found in our ability to control our responses, not in our ability to avoid stress. Stoic breathing teaches you to face stress head-on, with a sense of inner calm and strength. It's not about eliminating stress from your life. It's about learning how to handle it with grace and resilience. Incorporating these Stoic breathing exercises into your daily routine creates a powerful practice for managing stress, building resilience, and cultivating a calm, composed mindset. By focusing on your breath, you reconnect with your inner strength and gain control over your body and mind. This practice helps you face life's challenges with confidence, knowing that you have the tools to handle whatever comes your way. Through consistent practice, Stoic breathing becomes second nature. You begin to approach stress not as an enemy, but as an opportunity to practice resilience. Each breath you take serves as a reminder that you have the strength within you to face whatever life throws your way with calm and clarity. And in this process, you discover a new level of mental fortitude that empowers you to navigate life's challenges with ease. As you continue to breathe intentionally, you build an unwavering foundation of strength, one breath at a time. The Stoic breath of resilience is a meditation practice that helps you confront anxiety with a calm, resilient mindset, giving you the power to handle stress with composure and grace. It's a practice that doesn't just help you cope with stress, it helps you grow stronger in the face of it. As you learn to breathe through the stress and reclaim your inner calm, the next step in your journey toward resilience involves a powerful shift in perspective. Often, we perceive stress as something to fight against, something to avoid or escape. But what if stress and hardship didn't need to be seen as enemies at all? What if, instead of pushing against life's challenges, you could embrace them as necessary and even transformative? The Stoics believed that the key to a peaceful, resilient life lies not in avoiding difficulties, but in embracing them with open arms. This concept, known as amor fati, or love of fate, offers a radical yet liberating way to reframe stress and anxiety. This mindset shift is not about passively accepting whatever comes your way, but about actively choosing to love it, to see it as part of your journey, and to find meaning in even the most difficult moments. The Stoic philosophers, like Marcus Aurelius and Friedrich Nietzsche, spoke of amor fati as an essential practice for a life of strength and fulfillment. It's the understanding that everything that happens to you, whether good or bad, is an integral part of the whole of your life. In accepting this, you not only let go of resistance, but you also transform your relationship with stress itself. The essence of amor fati is this: everything that happens is for the best, even if it doesn't feel that way in the moment. It's about surrendering to the flow of life, trusting that every experience, every hardship, every setback serves a purpose, even if we don't understand it at the time. This acceptance does not come from a place of resignation, but from a place of empowerment. It means recognizing that we can't control the events around us, but we can control our response to them. When you adopt amor fati, you stop fighting against life's challenges and instead learn to use them to your advantage. Instead of feeling defeated by obstacles, you see them as opportunities for growth. Every difficulty becomes a chance to practice resilience, to develop strength, and to expand your capacity to deal with whatever comes your way. In this way, stress doesn't accumulate in your body or mind because you stop resisting it. You stop seeing it as something that must be avoided or eliminated. Instead, you learn to meet it with openness and curiosity, knowing that it will ultimately make you stronger. One of the reasons stress can feel so overwhelming is because we often perceive it as something unnatural, something that shouldn't be happening to us. But the Stoics knew that stress and adversity are not exceptions to the rule of life. They are part of the human experience. In fact, they are necessary for personal development. Without challenges, we would never know our true potential. Amor fati teaches us to love our fate, to love the journey, and to find meaning in the very things we'd normally wish to avoid. When you begin to embrace amor fati, your entire perspective shifts. You stop seeing obstacles as roadblocks and start seeing them as stepping stones. Stress, rather than causing you to break down, becomes the catalyst for your growth. Instead of being consumed by anxiety over future challenges, you welcome them as opportunities to develop your character and your mental resilience. This shift is profound because it reframes the way you see your life. The struggles you face no longer define you. Rather, they become the foundation upon which you build a stronger, more grounded version of yourself. But how can you practice amor fati in your daily life? It starts with a conscious choice to accept everything as it is, without judgment. Whenever you face a stressful situation, instead of thinking, "Why is this happening to me?" or "I don't deserve this," you choose to ask yourself, "What is this teaching me?" or "How can I grow from this?" This doesn't mean you should be indifferent to the pain or frustration you feel. It means that you don't let it control you. You acknowledge the difficulty, but you don't let it define your response. The Stoic practice of amor fati also involves letting go of attachment to specific outcomes. Often, our stress and anxiety come from the fear of what might happen or the pressure to make things turn out a certain way. But in embracing amor fati, we let go of the need for things to unfold according to our plans. We accept that life will not always go the way we want it to, and that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It's exactly how it's supposed to be. Each twist and turn, each unexpected challenge, is part of the grand design of our lives. This mindset shift is not easy, especially in the face of real adversity. But the more you practice embracing what comes, the easier it becomes to stay calm and focused when life throws a curveball. By consistently practicing amor fati, you train yourself to let go of the tension that comes from resisting what is happening. Stress no longer builds up in your body or mind because you stop fighting against it. Instead, you embrace it. accept it, and learn from it. An essential part of amor fati is acknowledging that life's challenges are often the most valuable teachers. Think about the times when you've grown the most. Often, they are the times when things were hardest. Whether it's the loss of a job, a difficult relationship, or a personal setback, it is often in the hardest moments that we discover our true strength. By embracing the idea that everything that happens is an opportunity to learn and grow, you start to shift your relationship with stress. When you make the conscious choice to love your fate, you also develop an appreciation for the present moment. Instead of constantly worrying about what could go wrong or obsessing over what's out of your control, you begin to fully experience the here and now. You start to find joy in the journey, even when it's difficult. This doesn't mean you ignore your problems or pretend they don't exist. It means you face them head-on, with the understanding that they are a natural and necessary part of your path. Amor fati also helps you break free from the illusion of control. Often, stress and anxiety stem from our desire to control everything around us. We believe that if we just plan hard enough, work hard enough, or force things to happen, we can avoid the uncertainty that causes us stress. But the Stoics understood that life is inherently uncertain. We can't control everything, and that's okay. In embracing amor fati, we free ourselves from the constant need to control outcomes and start living in harmony with life as it is, with all its unpredictability. This doesn't mean you give up on striving for your goals. It means that you stop holding on so tightly to specific outcomes. You can work hard, plan carefully, and pursue your dreams, but you do so without the expectation that everything will turn out exactly as you envision. When things don't go as planned, instead of stressing about it, you accept it as part of your fate, as something that will ultimately contribute to your growth. Another aspect of amor fati is learning to accept setbacks with grace. In life, things don't always go smoothly, and not every plan succeeds. When you experience setbacks, it's easy to feel defeated, to spiral into frustration and self-doubt. But by practicing amor fati, you reframe these setbacks as part of the process, as necessary steps on your journey. Instead of feeling discouraged, you feel empowered to keep moving forward. You know that everything that happens, even the failures, is an opportunity to build resilience and strengthen your character. It's in this acceptance that you truly start to let go of the stress that has held you captive for so long. By choosing to love your fate, to embrace whatever life brings with openness, you release the tension that comes from fighting against what is. You stop wasting energy on resistance and begin to use that energy to grow, adapt, and thrive. Stress, instead of becoming something to fear or avoid, becomes a powerful tool for personal development. Over time, amor fati becomes a way of life. It isn't just a practice you do when things are tough. It becomes a mindset you carry with you every day. You approach every experience, whether it's a challenge or a triumph, with the understanding that it is part of the whole of your life, and it is all contributing to your growth. You stop labeling events as good or bad, and instead you see them as simply what is, each moment a necessary part of your journey. This shift in perspective doesn't mean that you will never feel stressed again. It means that stress no longer controls you. You learn to meet stress with acceptance, to meet it with love, and to find peace even in the most difficult moments. When you embrace your fate, you free yourself from the grip of stress and anxiety, and you step into a place of inner strength and resilience. In the end, amor fati is not just about accepting life's challenges, it's about loving them. It's about understanding that the path is never smooth, but it is always worth walking. When you love your fate, you free yourself from the burden of resistance, and you open yourself to the peace that comes from fully embracing life exactly as it is. As you embrace the notion of loving your fate, accepting each moment with open arms, you might still find yourself struggling with one critical aspect: attachment. It's the expectations you place on outcomes, the deep-seated need for things to turn out a certain way, that often fuels anxiety. Even with amor fati, embracing fate as it comes, the underlying stress from expectations remains a powerful force. The Stoics understood this well, and their answer to this struggle was simple: non-attachment. Letting go of attachment isn't about resignation or passivity. It's about releasing the tight grip we have on things turning out as we want them to. In doing so, we free ourselves from the anxiety that comes with trying to control the uncontrollable. This practice of mindful non-attachment is a cornerstone of Stoic meditation, and it offers a path to a life with far less stress and far more peace. The Stoic concept of non-attachment teaches us that the outcomes of events are not what should define us. Instead of holding on tightly to the belief that things must go a certain way to be successful, we learn to focus on our actions, the things we can control, and leave the rest to unfold naturally. This approach doesn't mean we stop caring or stop striving for success. It means we let go of the unhealthy attachment to specific outcomes. This is one of the most powerful ways to reduce stress. When we attach ourselves too strongly to the outcome, we set ourselves up for disappointment. The Stoics believed that stress and anxiety often stem from this very attachment. We see outcomes as markers of our worth, measuring ourselves against what we've achieved or failed to achieve. But in reality, the outcome of any situation is outside our direct control. We can't always predict how things will turn out, no matter how much we try to plan, control, or manipulate circumstances. To practice mindful non-attachment is to acknowledge this fact. It's to recognize that while we can put forth our best effort, the results are not ours to command. The more we try to control outcomes, the more stressed and anxious we become. By practicing non-attachment, we release ourselves from this burden. We stop measuring our worth by what we achieve and start measuring it by the effort and intent we put into our actions. The beauty of this Stoic meditation lies in its simplicity. It's a mental shift that helps you let go of the internal battle between expectations and reality. Instead of feeling frustration or anxiety when things don't go as planned, you learn to accept what happens with grace and peace. This doesn't mean giving up on your goals or ambitions. It means not allowing the outcome to dictate your emotional state. You begin to understand that success or failure does not define you. What defines you is how you approach each moment, how you respond to life, and how you grow from each experience. In Stoic practice, non-attachment starts with understanding that our desires often cloud our judgment. We become so fixated on certain outcomes that we forget the true purpose of our actions: to act virtuously, to act in alignment with our values, and to learn from the process. When you detach from the need for specific results, you begin to experience a freedom that most people never realize. Freedom from anxiety, freedom from the burden of constant striving, and freedom from the fear of failure. Non-attachment also means accepting that failure is a part of life, just as success is. Life is not a straight line, and it's the twists and turns that offer us the most valuable lessons. When we allow ourselves to become too attached to one particular vision of success, we miss the lessons that come from things not turning out as expected. By practicing non-attachment, We stop seeing failure as something to fear or avoid, and start seeing it as a necessary part of our growth. At the heart of this practice is the understanding that peace comes from acceptance. When you stop holding on so tightly to specific outcomes, you free yourself from the emotional turbulence that comes with trying to force the world to match your desires. Instead of stressing over the future or the things you cannot change, you focus on what is within your control, your attitude, your response, and your actions. This shift from focusing on the outcome to focusing on the process is what brings lasting peace. One of the core practices of non-attachment is learning to release the need to control other people's reactions or the circumstances of life. We often feel stressed when things don't go the way we want, or when others don't behave as we expect. The Stoics knew that the only person we can control is ourselves. By accepting that we cannot control others or external circumstances, we free ourselves from unnecessary stress. This doesn't mean we stop caring about other people's feelings or stop trying to make the world a better place. It means we stop stressing over things beyond our control. In Stoic meditation, non-attachment is not about removing desires or goals from your life. It's about realizing that while you may have preferences and goals, your happiness does not depend on achieving them. True freedom comes when you can act with intention without being ruled by your attachment to a particular outcome. You can still strive for your goals, but you let go of the emotional weight that comes with needing to achieve them. In this way, you are free to live fully, without the constant pressure of measuring your self-worth by external results. The practice of mindful non-attachment requires patience and self-awareness. It's not something that happens overnight. It's a shift in perspective that takes time and effort. But the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. You begin to notice the small ways in which attachment to outcomes shows up in your life, whether in the desire to control a conversation, to get the approval of others, or to make everything turn out perfectly. When you catch yourself in these moments, you can choose to take a step back, breathe, and release the need for things to be a certain way. One powerful way to practice mindful non-attachment is through reflection. At the end of each day, take a moment to review the events and situations that caused you stress. Reflect on the moments when you found yourself attached to a specific result. Ask yourself, what did I expect from this situation? How did my attachment to the outcome affect my feelings or actions? This reflection will help you identify the areas in your life where attachment still holds power. With this awareness, you can begin to release those attachments bit by bit, freeing yourself from the grip of stress. Another effective Stoic practice is to remember that everything is temporary. When we become overly attached to specific outcomes, we forget that nothing in life is permanent. Our successes, our failures, and our struggles are all temporary. By reminding ourselves of the transient nature of life, we can let go of the need for things to stay the same. We begin to embrace the idea that life is constantly changing and we are not defined by the things that happen to us. This awareness helps to reduce anxiety because we stop clinging to the past or obsessing over the future. As you deepen your practice of non-attachment, you'll find that the stress that once controlled you no longer has the same power. Instead of feeling anxious about the future or the unknown, you'll feel at peace with whatever comes. You'll no longer feel the need to force things to go your way, because you'll have learned to trust that whatever happens is an essential part of your path. The more you practice letting go of attachment, the more you realize that you are not at the mercy of outcomes. You are at the helm of your own response. In every situation, you have the power to choose your response. When you detach from the outcome, you open yourself to new possibilities. You begin to embrace life as it comes, instead of fighting against it. Stress no longer becomes a constant companion because you've learned to let go of the need for things to be perfect or go according to plan. You accept that challenges are part of the journey, and instead of fearing them, you embrace them as opportunities to grow. Mindful non-attachment is a way of living that frees you from the shackles of stress and anxiety. It allows you to engage with the world fully without being controlled by the need to control it. By practicing this Stoic approach, you open yourself to a life of peace and resilience, where you respond with grace to whatever comes your way. Each day becomes an opportunity to practice letting go, and in doing so, you create the space for true freedom. As you practice letting go of attachment to specific outcomes, a deeper layer of peace begins to emerge. But even with the freedom from the need to control, another challenge often remains: uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, and no matter how much we plan, we cannot foresee what will happen next. The future is always a question mark, and that uncertainty can often bring with it a wave of anxiety and discomfort. The Stoics, however, approached this very unpredictability not as a source of fear, but as a natural part of life to be embraced. They knew that to find true peace, we must learn to navigate the unknown with grace, calm, and trust. Uncertainty is uncomfortable. It pulls us out of our comfort zone and forces us to confront what we can't control. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when life's trajectory is unclear. But the Stoics taught that peace does not come from having everything figured out. Instead, it comes from accepting the unknown as a natural part of life and learning to find comfort in it. The Stoic meditation techniques that we'll explore help you embrace uncertainty without letting it consume you. They guide you to a place of inner peace, where the unknown is not feared, but accepted as a part of the process. One of the most important Stoic teachings in the face of uncertainty is the understanding that while we cannot control the future, we can control how we respond to it. We can choose to meet the unknown with a calm mind instead of with anxiety or fear. The Stoics taught that it is our perception of uncertainty that causes distress, not the uncertainty itself. When we resist the unknown, when we cling to the illusion that we must have control, we create inner turmoil. But when we accept uncertainty as it is, we can release the anxiety attached to it. Stoic meditation in this regard helps us shift our focus from the uncontrollable future to the present moment. It reminds us that the only time we have is now. In this moment, we are safe. In this moment, we have everything we need. And so, the Stoic practice encourages us to pause and center ourselves when we feel overwhelmed by the unknown. The more you practice this meditation, the more you will find that your anxiety about the future begins to dissipate, replaced by a sense of acceptance and peace. The Stoics also emphasize the importance of mental preparation for the unexpected. Life is full of surprises, some pleasant, some not. But rather than hoping for the best and fearing the worst, Stoic meditation encourages us to prepare our minds for both. In this sense, we embrace uncertainty by mentally rehearsing how we might respond to the unpredictable. This is not about creating worst-case scenarios or assuming the worst. It's about acknowledging that life's unpredictability is inevitable and preparing ourselves to respond with calm and clarity. By practicing this kind of mental rehearsal, we build resilience in the face of uncertainty. Instead of being blindsided by the unknown, we develop the mental strength to meet it with composure. We are no longer caught off guard by life's unpredictability because we have trained ourselves to expect it, and, more importantly, to remain centered in the face of it. This practice allows us to release the fear that often accompanies uncertainty, replacing it with a deeper sense of calm and control. Another powerful Stoic technique in the face of uncertainty is the practice of focusing on what is within our control. When uncertainty arises, it's easy to get caught up in what we don't know, in all the things we cannot influence. But the Stoics taught that our energy is best spent on the things we can control, our thoughts, our actions, and our responses. When we focus on what we can control, we reduce the power that uncertainty has over us. We stop trying to predict the future and instead focus on what we can do in the present. This practice not only reduces anxiety, but it also increases our sense of agency and empowerment. The key to this practice is radical acceptance. Stoic meditation encourages us to accept uncertainty without resistance, to acknowledge that we cannot foresee every outcome, and to release the need for predictability. It's not about trying to solve everything or fix every problem before it arises. It's about accepting that life's path is not linear, and that sometimes the most important thing we can do is to remain calm and composed as we move forward, step by step. In your practice of Stoic meditation, when faced with uncertainty, begin by focusing on your breath, grounding yourself in the present moment. Remind yourself that whatever happens, you have the inner strength to handle it. Rather than running from the unknown or fearing it, face it head-on with acceptance and trust in your own ability to adapt. By doing this, you create a mental space where uncertainty no longer feels threatening. You begin to see the unknown as a part of life, not something to fear, but something to embrace. The more you practice this Stoic meditation, the more you will realize that the fear of the unknown is often more paralyzing than the unknown itself. When we accept uncertainty, we free ourselves from the constant worry of what might happen. We begin to realize that the future is simply a series of unknowns, and rather than trying to control them, we learn to flow with them. This shift in mindset helps you to stop seeing the future as a threat and instead see it as a natural part of life's unfolding. At times, the unknown may feel overwhelming. It's natural to want to have all the answers and to know what comes next. But the Stoic approach encourages us to live with an open hand, ready to receive whatever comes, without attachment to any specific outcome. We may not know what lies ahead, but by practicing Stoic meditation, we can trust that we have the resources within us to navigate whatever challenges arise. The key takeaway from Stoic meditation in the face of uncertainty is this: peace is not found in knowing the future. It is found in trusting ourselves in the present. We do not need to know every step of the journey. Instead, we focus on how we walk the path, how we respond to the unexpected, and how we embrace the unknown with calmness and grace. In embracing uncertainty, we begin to experience a sense of freedom. We no longer feel enslaved by the need for predictability, and we stop stressing about outcomes. We accept that uncertainty is simply part of the human experience and that we do not need to control everything. This acceptance allows us to move through life with a sense of ease, knowing that whatever happens, we are prepared to handle it. Through Stoic meditation, we learn to cultivate a mindset of trust. Trust in ourselves, trust in the process of life, and trust in our ability to adapt. This trust is not born out of blind optimism, but from a deep understanding that we are capable of facing whatever comes our way, no matter how uncertain or unpredictable it may be. By practicing Stoic meditation in the face of uncertainty, you are not only reducing anxiety, but also building a foundation of peace that will sustain you through life's challenges. You learn to live with a sense of ease, knowing that the unknown is not something to fear, but something to navigate with confidence and resilience. This practice frees you from the mental and emotional grip of uncertainty, allowing you to live more fully in the present and approach the future with calm assurance. As you move forward with this Stoic meditation, remember that uncertainty is not something to be feared or avoided. It is something to be embraced. Life is inherently unpredictable, and it is in our response to the unknown that we find our true strength. By practicing Stoic meditation, you cultivate the inner peace necessary to face uncertainty with confidence, resilience, and grace. As you learn to embrace uncertainty and accept the unpredictability of life, another challenge often arises: the weight of the day itself. No matter how much we strive to stay grounded, the demands of daily life have a way of accumulating, leaving us with mental clutter that can keep us awake long into the night. The stress of unfinished tasks, unresolved conversations, and lingering emotions can prevent us from finding the deep rest we need to recharge. The Stoics recognized that mental clarity is essential for a peaceful life, and they developed practices to help release the day's burdens, allowing us to sleep soundly and wake up refreshed. One of the most powerful tools the Stoics offered for this purpose is visualization. Nightly Stoic visualization is a technique designed to clear the mind before bed, allowing you to mentally reset after a day of activity. This practice helps you let go of the mental clutter that weighs you down and prepares your mind for restorative, uninterrupted sleep. By releasing the stress and unresolved issues of the day, you can enter a state of relaxation that promotes better sleep and a calmer mind. The key to this practice is recognizing that the thoughts and worries of the day do not need to follow you into the night. Often, our inability to rest is not due to external circumstances, but to the mental noise that fills our minds. The Stoics understood that sleep should be a time for recovery, not for replaying the events of the day. By consciously letting go of the things you can't change and focusing on peace, you set yourself up for a deeper, more restful sleep. Stoic visualization begins with a simple act of awareness, acknowledging the mental weight that has accumulated over the course of the day. Take a few moments to mentally scan your day and identify the areas where stress or unresolved emotions may be lingering. Recognize that these thoughts and feelings are temporary, and they do not need to dominate your mind as you prepare for sleep. By acknowledging them without judgment, you can release their grip on you. This process of letting go requires intentionality. The Stoics taught that we cannot control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we respond to it. Visualization is a tool that helps shift your focus away from what has happened and redirects it toward peace and acceptance. It's about taking the burden of the day off your shoulders and allowing yourself to rest without the weight of unresolved issues. This mental reset is essential for not just your sleep, but your overall well-being. The visualization process itself can vary, but the core idea is to focus on the imagery of releasing tension and stress. One of the most effective techniques is to imagine the mental clutter, your worries, frustrations, and tasks, leaving your mind like clouds drifting away in the sky. Each exhale releases another piece of that mental weight. You are not erasing the thoughts, but letting them float by without holding on to them. This practice allows your mind to clear, creating space for stillness and peace. This technique encourages a shift in perception. Instead of focusing on the things that happened or the things that might happen, you begin to train your mind to accept that not everything can be resolved in a single day. The Stoics believed that it's important to make peace with what cannot be controlled or completed. and visualization serves as a powerful reminder of this truth. As you visualize releasing your burdens, you are symbolically telling yourself that it's okay to leave the day behind and that you are allowed to rest. Another aspect of Stoic visualization is the practice of reflecting on the day with perspective. The Stoics often engaged in what is known as the evening reflection, where they would review their day and assess their actions. This reflection is not about self-criticism, but rather about understanding what went well, what could have been improved, and how they can grow from their experiences. This practice allows you to mentally sort through your day, process any emotions, and leave behind the things that are not important to carry into the night. In your nightly Stoic visualization, take time to review your day with this same perspective. Think about the moments where you felt challenged or stressed. Acknowledge them, but also remind yourself that these moments are part of the larger picture of your life. Whatever happened today does not define you. It's just a moment in time. The Stoics knew that our emotions, like the events of our day, are fleeting. They didn't cling to anger, frustration, or disappointment. Instead, they allowed these feelings to pass, focusing on what they could learn from them rather than holding on to them. Visualization can also be enhanced by grounding yourself in gratitude. The Stoics practiced gratitude not as a way of ignoring the negative, but as a way of shifting their focus toward what was meaningful. By reflecting on what you are grateful for in the day, you are consciously choosing to focus on the positive aspects of your life. This doesn't mean you ignore your struggles or challenges, but rather that you choose to recognize the good amidst the difficult. Gratitude helps to reset your mental state, reminding you that even on the hardest days, there are moments worth appreciating. After releasing the stress of the day and reflecting on your actions with gratitude, you can further deepen your sense of peace by turning to the present moment. The Stoics taught that the present is all we have, and it's where we find true peace. In your visualization practice, focus on your breath, the gentle rise and fall of your chest, and the present sensation of relaxation. This brings you fully into the now, allowing your mind to release any lingering thoughts about the past or future. The more you practice staying grounded in the present, the more you can free yourself from the weight of overthinking, leading to a more restful night's sleep. The Stoics also emphasized the power of acceptance. When we are stressed or anxious, it's often because we are resisting something that has already happened or something that might happen. In your nightly visualization, practice accepting the day as it was, without wishing it had been different. This practice helps you let go of regret, guilt, or frustration, and allows you to move forward without carrying the emotional weight of the past. You accept the day's events with grace, knowing that they are simply part of your journey. This acceptance creates a sense of peace, freeing you from the mental burden that would otherwise keep you awake. It's important to remember that Stoic visualization isn't about forcing your mind to be clear or calm. It's about creating space for relaxation and peace by intentionally letting go of the things that no longer serve you. Your mind will naturally wander, and that's okay. The key is to gently bring it back to the present and allow the thoughts to float away like leaves in a stream. This practice helps to train your mind to focus on what truly matters, peace and rest, rather than on the distractions that prevent you from truly sleeping. As you incorporate Stoic visualization into your nightly routine, you will notice that the stress and anxiety that once followed you into bed will begin to dissipate. You will create a mental boundary between the day and the night, allowing your body and mind to rest without the weight of unresolved issues. By practicing this mental reset, you are not only preparing for better sleep, but also cultivating a more peaceful and resilient mindset that will carry you through the challenges of tomorrow. Over time, the more you practice this nightly visualization, the more natural it will become. You will find yourself letting go of the day's burdens with greater ease, and the transition into sleep will feel smoother. The Stoics believed that a well-rested mind is a productive mind, and by engaging in this practice, you allow your body to rest and your mind to reset, ensuring that you wake up refreshed and ready to face whatever the next day may bring. Nightly Stoic visualization is not just a sleep aid. It's a transformative practice that allows you to take control of your mental state, release the weight of stress, and enter the night with a sense of peace. As you continue to use this technique, you'll find that it enhances not only your sleep, but your overall sense of well-being. By letting go of what doesn't serve you, you make room for the peace and clarity necessary to live a fulfilling and stress-free life. As you embrace the practice of releasing the day's burdens and mentally resetting for restful sleep, a deeper, more profound practice begins to reveal itself. A practice that goes beyond letting go of stress in the moment and helps you tackle the larger, more existential anxieties that often hold us captive. Life is full of uncertainty, challenges, and inevitable difficulties. But one thing that remains certain for all of us is mortality. The Stoics understood that contemplating our mortality, rather than shying away from it, offers a unique and powerful tool for letting go of unnecessary stress and fear. The reminder that life is fleeting is not a cause for despair. Instead, it is a source of clarity and focus. When we reflect on the reality of death, we are not meant to be filled with fear or sadness, but to sharpen our appreciation for the time we have. By remembering that our time is limited, we free ourselves from the trivial anxieties and concerns that weigh us down. Memento mori, or remember you will die, is a central Stoic practice that helps to refocus our attention on what truly matters. It reminds us that our lives are finite, and in recognizing this, we are encouraged to prioritize the things that bring meaning and peace. Stress, in its most insidious form, often arises from a fear of the future, fear of failure, fear of missing out, fear of not achieving enough. These worries consume our minds and drain our energy. But when we practice memento mori, we remind ourselves that many of these fears are distractions from the real value of life. If we remember that we won't be here forever, we begin to see our challenges in a new light. The petty frustrations, the striving for perfection, the endless cycle of worrying about things that ultimately don't matter, all start to lose their power over us. When the Stoics practiced memento mori, they were not morbid or depressed. They were focused and clear. The thought of death, far from being something that caused anxiety, actually freed them from unnecessary stress. It gave them perspective. Instead of obsessing over every minor setback or disappointment, they chose to focus on the present moment and what they could control. Every day was an opportunity to live according to their values, and memento mori was a daily reminder of just how precious time truly is. The power of memento mori lies in its ability to strip away the unnecessary distractions that cloud our judgment and our sense of purpose. By contemplating mortality, we break free from the overwhelming pressure to constantly strive, to do more, to be more. We recognize that life is not a race, but a limited opportunity to live meaningfully. And in that recognition, the things that once seemed so important, achievements, status, the opinions of others, start to fade in comparison to what truly matters. our relationships, our growth, and our ability to live in alignment with our deepest values. This practice of reflecting on death also helps us release the burden of regret. So often, stress and anxiety are rooted in our past, things we wish we had done differently, or opportunities we feel we missed. But when we consider that time is finite, we realize that clinging to the past is a waste of the precious moments we still have. The Stoics taught us that regret is not productive. It only ties us to a past that no longer exists. Instead of looking back, memento mori encourages us to look forward with purpose, to make the most of the time we have left, however much or little that may be. By reflecting on our mortality, we also learn to let go of the small irritations and trivial challenges that often trigger stress. In the grand scheme of things, most of our daily worries, whether it's a minor conflict, a missed opportunity, or an unexpected inconvenience, are fleeting and insignificant. When we remember that life is short, we begin to see these challenges for what they truly are, temporary distractions that don't warrant our emotional investment. Stress often arises when we blow things out of proportion, when we give too much weight to things that are ultimately unimportant. Memento mori helps us regain perspective, reminding us that our energy is better spent on the things that truly matter. This concept also frees us from the constant need for validation and external approval. How often do we find ourselves stressed about how others perceive us, or whether we meet society's expectations? We chase after success, popularity, and recognition, believing that they will bring us happiness and fulfillment. But when we contemplate the inevitability of our death, we realize that these external measures of success are ultimately fleeting. What will remain in the end is the life we've lived, the people we've loved, and the integrity with which we've acted. By embracing memento mori, we release the need for validation and instead focus on living authentically according to our own values, not the expectations of others. The Stoics practiced memento mori as a way to reduce fear and anxiety about death itself. It's natural to fear the unknown, and for many of us, death represents the ultimate unknown. But rather than allowing that fear to paralyze us, the Stoics used it as a tool to live more fully. They understood that by contemplating mortality, we strip away the mystery of death. Instead of fearing it, we accept it as an inevitable part of life, and in that acceptance we are freed to live with greater intention and purpose. Incorporating memento mori into your daily life does not require constant obsession with death, but rather a simple recognition that time is precious. This reflection can be done in moments of quiet, such as during your morning or evening routines, or whenever you feel overwhelmed by stress. When you feel anxiety creeping in, remind yourself of the transience of life. Remind yourself that in the grand scope of time, most of your worries are insignificant. This practice serves as a reminder that we are not meant to stress over every minor setback or failure, but to use our time wisely, living in alignment with our values and embracing the present moment. One of the most important aspects of memento mori is that it doesn't just teach us to accept death, it teaches us to appreciate life. By acknowledging the brevity of our time, we become more attuned to the beauty of each moment. We start to see life as a gift rather than a burden or a race. The Stoics believed that a life well lived is a life lived with awareness of death. This awareness doesn't cause fear or anxiety. It motivates us to live more deliberately, to focus on what truly matters, and to let go of the things that do not. When we are constantly focused on the future or the past, we miss the present. But by reflecting on mortality, we are reminded to embrace the here and now. Stress often arises when we are too focused on things we cannot control, whether it's the fear of what might happen or the regret of what has already passed. But when we embrace memento mori, we free ourselves from this cycle of worry. We realize that the only moment we have is now, and in this moment, we have the power to choose how we respond to the world around us. The practice of memento mori also teaches us to embrace the impermanence of life. Everything, from our successes to our struggles, is temporary. This realization allows us to live with greater resilience, knowing that difficult times will pass, just as the good times will. We no longer attach ourselves to the ups and downs of life because we understand that all things are transient. This perspective helps reduce stress because it enables us to live with greater flexibility, adapting to life's changes without becoming overwhelmed. In embracing memento mori, we are not simply accepting the inevitability of death, we are choosing to live more fully. We choose to focus on what truly matters, our relationships, our personal growth, and our ability to contribute to the world around us. By letting go of the stress tied to superficial concerns, we make room for a deeper, more meaningful life. We prioritize what aligns with our values, knowing that the time we have is limited and every moment is precious. Ultimately, memento mori is a practice of liberation. It frees us from the constant grip of fear, stress, and anxiety, allowing us to focus on the present and embrace life with purpose. By reminding ourselves of our mortality, we reclaim our time and our energy, using it to live in a way that is meaningful and fulfilling. Life is short, but by living with awareness of its fleeting nature, we can make the most of every moment. Through memento mori, we learn to let go of stress and focus on what truly matters, ultimately leading to a life of peace, clarity, and purpose. As you reflect on the profound reality of life's impermanence, the next step in your journey toward inner peace becomes clear, understanding and accepting the fleeting nature of our existence. In our quest for comfort and stability, we often become attached to the idea of permanence, to the belief that things should remain constant. This desire to hold on to what we have, whether it's relationships, possessions, or even personal achievements, often leads to anxiety and stress. The Stoics, however, embraced the transient nature of life, recognizing that change and loss are inevitable parts of the human experience. Through their teachings, they provided us with a powerful tool for reducing the fear that arises from this uncertainty, the practice of reflecting on life's impermanence. When we become attached to the idea that life should stay the same, that we should always have the things we value, we set ourselves up for inevitable disappointment. Nothing in life is permanent. Relationships evolve, circumstances change, and even our health can shift unexpectedly. The Stoics knew that the more we cling to permanence, the more we invite stress and fear into our lives. By reflecting on the impermanence of all things, we can release the anxiety that comes with trying to hold on to what cannot be held forever. This Stoic meditation is about coming to terms with the fact that change is not something to resist or fear. It is something to accept as part of the fabric of life. The more we resist change, the more we suffer. The Stoic practice encourages us to reflect regularly on the impermanence of everything around us, from the people we love to the things we own, understanding that this ever-present truth can bring peace, not fear. When we accept that nothing is permanent, we stop fearing the inevitable transitions that life brings. Reflecting on impermanence helps us build a mindset that is resilient to change. Instead of feeling overwhelmed when we lose something or face an unexpected shift, we are able to approach the situation with acceptance and even gratitude. We realize that loss is not a punishment, but a part of the natural flow of life. This shift in thinking releases us from the mental and emotional weight of attachment and allows us to move forward with greater ease. Instead of viewing life's impermanence as a source of fear, we learn to see it as an invitation to live more fully in the present, appreciating each moment as it is. In this practice, the Stoics teach us to detach from the need for certainty and permanence. The more we try to control life's unpredictable nature, the more stressed we become. By embracing the reality that everything is temporary, we become more adaptable and flexible, better equipped to handle whatever comes our way. This practice doesn't just reduce stress, it makes us stronger, more capable of navigating the challenges of life without being overwhelmed by them. When we let go of our attachment to permanence, we also let go of the fear that comes with it. Anxiety often arises when we feel like we are losing control or when things we rely on are threatened. By reflecting on impermanence, we shift our focus from trying to control what is beyond us to focusing on how we respond to the present moment. We begin to accept change as it comes, and with that acceptance comes a sense of inner peace. This Stoic practice also teaches us that every moment is precious precisely because it is fleeting. When we acknowledge the impermanence of life, we begin to see the beauty in the passing moments, the relationships, the experiences, and the small victories. We stop taking things for granted and start living with intention, knowing that we cannot keep any moment forever. This awareness helps us prioritize what really matters, letting go of distractions and focusing on what brings us true fulfillment. One of the most transformative aspects of reflecting on impermanence is that it allows us to process grief and loss more effectively. Loss is an inevitable part of life, whether it's the death of a loved one, the end of a relationship, or the loss of a job. These experiences can be painful, but the Stoic approach to impermanence helps us navigate grief with greater resilience. Instead of resisting the pain, we accept it as part of life's natural course. We understand that while we cannot stop loss from happening, we can choose how we respond to it. In reflecting on impermanence, we also come to terms with the fact that nothing lasts forever, not even our own lives. The Stoics were not morbid in their reflections on mortality. Rather, they used the awareness of death to live more fully. By reflecting on our own mortality, we gain clarity on what is truly important. We stop wasting time on trivial concerns and start focusing on what truly brings us joy, peace, and purpose. Life is short, and reflecting on this brevity encourages us to live in alignment with our deepest values. By meditating on impermanence, we reduce the fear of change and loss. Instead of clinging to the familiar, we learn to adapt with grace and acceptance. We understand that the loss of something does not mean the end, it is simply a transition to something new. Each ending makes space for a new beginning. By embracing change, we release the anxiety tied to the fear of what might be lost. We open ourselves up to new possibilities, trusting that even in the face of loss, we can find meaning and growth. This reflection on impermanence also helps us cultivate gratitude. When we realize that nothing lasts forever, we become more appreciative of the moments and experiences we have. We stop postponing happiness for some future time, and instead, we choose to be present and grateful for what we have right now. Gratitude becomes a natural part of this practice as we learn to savor each moment and embrace the present without longing for the past or fearing the future. The more we reflect on the impermanence of life, the more we realize that most of the things that cause us stress are temporary. The arguments, the failures, the frustrations, They are all part of the ebb and flow of life. By seeing these moments as fleeting, we stop letting them define us. We can let go of resentment, guilt, and regret, knowing that they too will pass. This perspective gives us the freedom to move through life with greater ease, knowing that every difficult moment is just one small part of a much bigger picture. Stoic meditation on impermanence also involves cultivating a sense of detachment, not in the sense of indifference, but in the sense of releasing the need to cling to things that are beyond our control. We learn to hold on loosely to the things we love, understanding that they may not always be with us. This practice allows us to appreciate what we have while also accepting that everything is temporary. We can love deeply without fear, knowing that attachment to permanence only leads to suffering. The Stoics believed that by accepting impermanence, we become more aligned with the natural flow of life. Instead of resisting the inevitable, we learn to live in harmony with it. We embrace change, not as something to fear, but as a natural part of our growth. This acceptance doesn't mean passivity. It means actively choosing to live in a way that reflects our understanding of life's impermanence. We live fully, knowing that time is limited and that each moment is precious. Through this practice, we begin to let go of the stress that comes from clinging to permanence and control. We stop fearing change and loss, and we start to live with greater peace and contentment. Reflecting on impermanence frees us from the need to hold on to what we cannot keep, allowing us to embrace each moment with clarity and purpose. We release the weight of expectations, and instead we accept life as it comes, knowing that every experience, no matter how brief, is an opportunity for growth and learning. In this way, the Stoic practice of reflecting on impermanence serves as a powerful tool for reducing anxiety, letting go of stress, and living more fully. By accepting the transient nature of life, we free ourselves from the fear of loss and the need for control. We embrace the present moment, appreciate what we have, and trust that each new phase of life offers its own lessons and opportunities. Through this practice, we learn to live with greater resilience, peace, and gratitude, knowing that nothing is permanent, but every moment is worth living fully. As you reflect on life's impermanence and release the anxieties tied to change, there's still one crucial aspect to address: the noise in your mind. While acknowledging the fleeting nature of life brings perspective, the constant hum of thoughts, worries, and distractions can still pull you from this clarity. Stress often arises from the inability to find stillness, to quiet the mind, and to step away from the constant mental chatter that fills our days. The Stoics, however, had a powerful remedy for this: the practice of silent meditation. In the stillness of silence, they found a space where tension could dissolve and inner peace could emerge. Silent Stoic meditation is a profound practice that allows you to quiet the noise of your thoughts and enter into a space of true mental clarity. In today's fast-paced world, where distractions are constant and our minds are rarely at rest, this practice becomes an essential tool for cultivating peace. The Stoics understood that the mind, like any muscle, requires discipline, and through meditation we learn to cultivate the ability to sit with ourselves, to let go of external distractions, and to find tranquility within. The first step in embracing this practice is to understand that silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is the space between thoughts, the stillness that allows you to experience the present moment without the interference of past regrets or future worries. Silent meditation, especially in the Stoic tradition, is about training your mind to detach from the constant stream of thoughts and enter into a peaceful, focused state. This doesn't mean silencing every thought, but rather learning to allow them to come and go without attaching to them. The Stoics believed that inner peace could only be achieved when we learn to separate ourselves from the constant noise of the world and our minds. In a society that thrives on stimulation and constant input, the ability to sit in silence becomes a rare yet invaluable skill. By embracing stillness, you give your mind the space it needs to reset, to release tension, and to return to its natural state of balance. To practice silent Stoic meditation, find a quiet space where you can sit comfortably without distractions. Close your eyes and begin by focusing on your breath. Breathe slowly and deeply, allowing your breath to anchor you in the present moment. With each inhale, bring your awareness to the sensation of the air entering your body. With each exhale, release the tension that has built up in your body and mind. This focus on the breath is a way to center yourself, to move away from the noise and into a place of inner stillness. The key here is to allow thoughts to come and go without judgment. When a thought arises, whether it's about your day, your responsibilities, or an emotion you're feeling, acknowledge it without attaching any value to it. Don't get caught in the story the thought wants to tell. Instead, simply observe it and let it pass. As you continue to practice, you'll begin to notice that the space between thoughts naturally expands and the mental clutter begins to fade. This is where true peace resides, when you allow your mind to rest in the present, free from the constant chatter of judgment, worry, and distraction. In Stoic philosophy, the ability to control our thoughts is paramount. They believed that we cannot always control what happens in the world, but we can always control our responses. Silent meditation is one of the most effective ways to practice this control, as it gives us the opportunity to detach from the habitual reactions of the mind and observe our thoughts with clarity. Over time, as you practice silent Stoic meditation, you'll find that your mind becomes less reactive and more responsive. You become less attached to your thoughts and emotions and more grounded in your inner peace. The benefits of silent meditation extend far beyond just relaxation. It's about cultivating a deeper connection to yourself and your purpose. By embracing silence, you learn to listen more deeply, not just to the world around you, but to the quiet voice within. This voice is often drowned out by the noise of daily life, but when you allow silence into your life, you create the space to hear it more clearly. It's in this stillness that you can connect with your true intentions, your values, and the path that is most meaningful to you. In addition to promoting mental clarity, silent Stoic meditation also helps to reduce stress and anxiety. The constant bombardment of information and the relentless pace of modern life often lead to mental exhaustion. We are rarely given the chance to simply be, to exist without pressure and without the need to perform or achieve. Meditation provides that space, allowing you to unplug from the world and simply focus on your inner self. By making time for this silence, you give yourself permission to release the built-up tension from the day and reconnect with a sense of peace. The practice of silent meditation also aligns with one of the core Stoic principles, the acceptance of what we cannot control. So often, stress arises from our attempts to control the uncontrollable, the actions of others, the unpredictability of life, or the future itself. In meditation, we embrace the notion that we can only control our response to these things. When we sit in silence, we give ourselves the opportunity to reflect on this truth. We recognize that while the world around us may be chaotic, we have the ability to create stillness within. Silent Stoic meditation, over time, serves as a refuge from the noise of the world. It offers a sanctuary where you can connect with your inner calm and return to a place of mental clarity. When you make this practice a part of your daily routine, you begin to notice a subtle shift in how you respond to life's challenges. Instead of reacting impulsively or emotionally, you begin to approach situations with calm and composed awareness. The ability to be still in the midst of chaos is one of the greatest gifts meditation can offer. As you cultivate the practice of silent meditation, you'll also notice its impact on your relationships with others. When your mind is quieter and more centered, you become more present in your interactions. You listen more attentively, speak with greater intention, and respond with empathy and understanding. This practice helps you step out of the habitual patterns of judgment and reaction, and instead approach each moment with clarity and calm. In this way, the practice of silent Stoic meditation extends beyond just your personal well-being. It enriches your connections with the world around you. Incorporating silent meditation into your daily life doesn't require hours of practice. Even a few minutes of silence each day can have a profound impact. Over time, you'll find that your mind becomes more accustomed to stillness, and the benefits become cumulative. You'll begin to experience a greater sense of peace, both in your mind and in your body. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to access that place of calm, even when life feels overwhelming. One of the key aspects of this practice is patience. Just as it takes time to cultivate any new skill, learning to quiet your mind takes practice. There will be moments when your thoughts feel overwhelming and you may struggle to remain still. That's okay. The goal is not to eliminate every thought, but to create space where you can observe them without attachment. With consistent practice, the gaps between thoughts grow longer and the silence becomes more profound. The Stoics emphasized the importance of mental discipline, and silent meditation is one of the most effective ways to cultivate this discipline. It helps you develop control over your mind, allowing you to focus on what truly matters and to release the mental clutter that doesn't serve you. By practicing silent Stoic meditation regularly, you begin to master your thoughts, reduce stress, and create a peaceful, resilient mind. Silent meditation is also a practice of self-compassion. In a world that often demands constant productivity and performance, it's easy to forget that you are worthy of rest and stillness. By making time for this practice, you give yourself permission to simply be, without judgment, without expectation. You release the need to do more, to be more, and instead embrace the peace of simply existing in the moment. The Stoic practice of silent meditation is a powerful tool for quieting the mind, reducing stress, and cultivating inner peace. By embracing silence and stillness, you create the mental space needed to release tension and focus on what truly matters. This practice allows you to navigate the complexities of life with greater clarity and resilience, offering you a sense of tranquility that extends far beyond the meditation session itself. With time, this stillness becomes a natural part of your life, helping you remain grounded and composed no matter what challenges arise. Having embraced the practice of silent meditation to clear the mind and find stillness, there is one more powerful Stoic principle that can transform the way you handle stress and anxiety: ataraxia. This concept, which translates to inner calm or serenity, lies at the heart of Stoic philosophy. While external events may be beyond our control, ataraxia teaches us that we have the ability to cultivate a profound sense of peace within ourselves, regardless of the turmoil around us. In this practice, we seek to achieve a state where external circumstances no longer dictate our emotional well-being. Instead, we build the strength to remain undisturbed by life's challenges, grounded in an unwavering sense of calm. At the core of Stoicism is the belief that tranquility comes not from the absence of difficulties, but from the ability to respond to them with composure. The Stoics recognized that life is filled with unpredictable events, suffering, loss, failure, and conflict. However, they also understood that our emotional reactions to these events are under our control. Through regular meditation and mindfulness, we can train ourselves to cultivate an inner calm that provides a stable foundation amid the chaos of life. The practice of achieving ataraxia begins with acknowledging the distinction between what we can and cannot control. This is a recurring theme in Stoic meditation. We cannot control how others behave, how events unfold, or how circumstances change. What we can control, however, is how we respond to these external forces. Ataraxia is built on this simple but profound idea. When we focus on controlling our responses rather than attempting to control the uncontrollable, we find peace. To develop this inner calm, the Stoics used several tools, one of which is reflection. This daily practice allows us to assess our thoughts, behaviors, and emotions with clarity. By reflecting on our day, we can identify where we allowed external events to disturb our peace. Perhaps we let a challenging conversation escalate into frustration, or we allowed the uncertainty of the future to trigger anxiety. By becoming aware of these triggers, we can learn to detach from them. The key is not to fight these emotions, but to accept that they are natural. Once we accept them, we can choose to release them, returning to a state of calm. Meditation plays a central role in cultivating ataraxia. Through meditation, we train our minds to focus on the present, letting go of past regrets and future worries. This practice is not about pushing away thoughts or emotions, but about observing them without attachment. When we become aware of our thoughts and feelings without identifying with them, we create the space needed to regain control. This space is where ataraxia thrives. It is where we become aware of our emotional responses, choose not to react impulsively, and instead allow ourselves to respond with measured calm. Another key aspect of ataraxia is acceptance. The Stoics believed that true peace comes from embracing the present moment as it is, without resistance. This does not mean passivity. It means engaging with life as it unfolds, with full awareness that we cannot control every outcome. Acceptance involves recognizing that discomfort, stress, and pain are part of the human experience. Instead of resisting them, we accept their presence and choose how to respond. By practicing acceptance, we reduce the anxiety caused by fear of the unknown or fear of failure. We stop worrying about what might go wrong and start focusing on how we can maintain our inner calm no matter what life brings. The daily practice of cultivating ataraxia can be incredibly transformative. It allows us to navigate the stresses of life with a clear mind and a steady heart. Whether it's a difficult conversation, a challenging project at work, or the uncertainties of the future, we are better equipped to face these challenges without letting them disrupt our inner peace. The goal of ataraxia is not to escape from stress, but to learn how to remain composed in the face of it. We build resilience by embracing life's challenges with grace, knowing that we can remain unaffected by the storms around us. This Stoic approach to inner calm is particularly effective when we consider the power of perspective. When we practice ataraxia, we shift our focus from the external events themselves to our interpretation of them. In doing so, we recognize that it is not the events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. This realization empowers us to change the way we perceive the world. We stop seeing obstacles as threats and start viewing them as opportunities for growth. By reframing challenges, we transform stress into a tool for personal development, strengthening our ability to remain calm and composed. Incorporating the practice of ataraxia into our daily lives involves creating a routine of mental discipline. Just as we exercise our bodies to build physical strength, we must regularly exercise our minds to build mental fortitude. This involves setting aside time each day for reflection and meditation. By doing so, we create the habit of returning to inner calm, even in moments of stress. Over time, the more we practice ataraxia, the more natural it becomes to maintain a sense of peace, regardless of the circumstances. The Stoics also used a technique called premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils, to help build resilience. By mentally preparing ourselves for the challenges that may arise, we reduce their emotional impact. This practice involves reflecting on possible difficulties and imagining how we would respond if they occurred. This exercise helps to take the fear out of uncertainty and prepares us to face challenges with a calm mind. It teaches us that we do not need to fear what may happen because we already know how to handle it with composure. When we begin to practice ataraxia, we realize that peace is not a destination, but a continual practice. It is a state of mind that we return to time and again. Stress will inevitably arise in our lives, but when we have cultivated ataraxia, we are less likely to be consumed by it. We begin to see that life is a series of moments, each one transient and impermanent. Instead of clinging to a specific idea of how things should be, we learn to flow with life, accepting each moment as it comes. This flexibility and acceptance are at the heart of ataraxia. Moreover, ataraxia is not just about individual peace. It also enhances our relationships with others. When we are calm, we are better able to respond to others with patience, empathy, and understanding. We stop reacting impulsively, and instead we engage with others thoughtfully. By practicing ataraxia, we develop the emotional intelligence needed to maintain harmonious relationships, even in the face of disagreement or conflict. Our ability to stay calm in stressful situations makes us a source of stability for those around us. One of the final components of ataraxia is understanding that serenity is not something we can achieve once and for all. It is an ongoing process of growth. There will be days when maintaining inner calm feels difficult, when stress seems overwhelming. However, the Stoics taught that even in those moments, we have the opportunity to practice. We do not need to be perfect. We simply need to keep trying, to keep returning to that place of inner peace, no matter how many times we are knocked off course. By focusing on cultivating ataraxia, we stop letting external events determine our emotional state. Instead, we take responsibility for how we respond, knowing that we have the power to maintain inner calm, no matter the storm. This practice becomes the foundation of our peace, a peace that is unshakable, even in the most difficult circumstances. When we strive for tranquility, we not only reduce stress, but we also create the space for a life of greater meaning, resilience, and clarity. In the end, ataraxia is not about avoiding challenges or seeking an existence free from stress. It's about embracing the reality of life's challenges with a steady heart and a calm mind. Through meditation, reflection, and a disciplined approach to mental resilience, we can cultivate the inner peace that allows us to navigate life's ups and downs with grace. By practicing ataraxia, we find a deeper sense of tranquility, not just in moments of peace, but in every moment of our lives. As you cultivate inner calm and resilience through Stoic meditation, there will inevitably come moments when life presents you with deep sorrow and loss. The death of a loved one, the end of an important chapter, the sudden change of circumstances. These experiences can feel overwhelming, and the emotional weight they bring can be difficult to navigate. The Stoics, however, didn't shy away from the reality of tragedy. Instead, they faced it head-on, using it as a tool for growth and inner strength. Through daily reflections on loss and hardship, they discovered a way to process grief, reduce anxiety, and find peace amidst the pain. Grief, though a universal experience, can feel isolating. The emotional storm it stirs in us can cloud our judgment and lead us to believe that we will never find peace again. However, the Stoics offered a different perspective, a way to face loss with dignity, resilience, and acceptance. They did not deny the pain of loss, but instead used their reflections to transform that pain into something meaningful. By understanding the impermanence of life and the inevitability of loss, the Stoics found strength in accepting that suffering is part of the human experience. When we experience loss, it's easy to get caught up in the emotions, grief, sadness, anger, or even regret. But the Stoics taught that while we cannot control the emotions that arise, we can control our response to them. Reflecting on loss through the Stoic lens allows us to move from a place of helplessness to one of empowerment. Instead of being consumed by sorrow, we learn to process it in a way that brings us peace and clarity. This doesn't mean suppressing our feelings, but rather understanding them, accepting them, and allowing them to pass without letting them define us. At the heart of Stoic reflections on loss is the practice of acceptance. The Stoics believed that resistance to the things we cannot change only leads to more suffering. Loss is inevitable, and no amount of wishing can bring back what we have lost. The true path to peace, according to the Stoics, is to accept loss as part of life's natural order. Acceptance doesn't mean we no longer feel pain. It means we recognize the pain and let it move through us without clinging to it. To practice Stoic reflections on loss, start by acknowledging the grief you feel, but don't let it consume you. In moments of loss, it can feel as though we are lost in the pain, but the Stoic approach encourages us to step back and view the situation with a broader perspective. One powerful technique is to remind yourself that everything is temporary. The Stoics regularly reflected on the transient nature of life, the idea that everything, from our possessions to our relationships, is fleeting. This reflection allows us to appreciate what we have while it's here, knowing that it will not last forever. Another Stoic tool for processing loss is the practice of premeditatio malorum, or premeditation of evils. The Stoics taught that by mentally preparing ourselves for the hardships we may face, we can reduce their emotional impact when they actually occur. This practice is not about expecting the worst, but about mentally acknowledging that loss and hardship are part of life's journey. By regularly reflecting on the potential for loss, we build emotional resilience, and when tragedy strikes, we are better prepared to face it with strength and composure. The Stoics also practiced gratitude, even in the face of loss. It may seem counterintuitive, but by focusing on what we still have rather than what we've lost, we shift our perspective. The Stoics often reflected on the good things that remained in their lives, which helped them build a sense of appreciation, even in the midst of grief. This practice of gratitude doesn't erase the pain of loss, but it helps us to balance that pain with an acknowledgement of the value of what we still have. In the face of loss, the Stoics would also encourage us to focus on what we can control, our own actions and responses. While we cannot control the events that cause us pain, we can control how we choose to carry ourselves through them. The Stoics taught that we always have a choice in how we react to life's challenges, and that choice can lead us either to despair or to growth. Choosing to respond with dignity, acceptance, and resilience is an act of personal empowerment. It allows us to find strength in the midst of suffering, to rise above our emotions, and to transform pain into something meaningful. The practice of memento mori, or remembering death, is also a crucial part of Stoic reflection on loss. By regularly contemplating the inevitability of our mortality, we come to understand that loss is not just a personal experience, it is a universal one. Everyone, eventually, will face loss. This awareness helps us to see our grief in a larger context, which reduces its power over us. Instead of feeling isolated in our pain, we recognize that loss is an essential part of the human condition. It is through accepting this fact that we can transcend the paralyzing fear of death and embrace the preciousness of life. When we reflect on life's impermanence and the inevitability of loss, we begin to shift our mindset. Instead of fearing loss, we can learn to embrace the moments we have with the people, places, and experiences that matter most. The Stoics didn't see death or loss as something to be feared, but as an opportunity to reflect on how we are living. Each moment of loss can be a reminder to live more fully, to cherish the present, and to focus on what truly brings meaning to our lives. One of the most valuable lessons the Stoics teach is that grief, while painful, is also an opportunity for growth. When we experience loss, we are given the chance to deepen our understanding of what truly matters. Loss forces us to confront our priorities and values, and often it's in these moments of vulnerability that we learn the most about ourselves. Instead of allowing loss to define us, we can use it as a catalyst for personal growth and resilience. By reflecting on our grief through the Stoic lens, we find that even in the depths of sorrow, there is the potential for strength, clarity, and a renewed sense of purpose. The daily practice of Stoic reflections on loss doesn't eliminate the pain of grief, but it provides a framework for processing it in a healthy and constructive way. It teaches us that loss is not something to be feared or avoided, but something to be embraced as part of life's natural cycle. Through acceptance, gratitude, and resilience, we can navigate the pain of loss with grace and emerge stronger on the other side. When we reflect on tragedy through the Stoic lens, we are reminded that our emotional responses to loss are part of our shared humanity. By processing grief with the Stoics' guidance, we learn to handle life's difficulties with courage and equanimity. Instead of being consumed by sorrow, we are able to honor the experience, learn from it, and move forward with a deeper understanding of what it means to live a meaningful life. This meditation on loss also encourages us to connect more deeply with others. In times of grief, we are reminded of the impermanence of relationships and the importance of cherishing the moments we have with loved ones. By reflecting on the transient nature of life, we are encouraged to approach relationships with more presence, more appreciation, and more love. Grief can teach us to let go of petty disagreements and to focus on what truly matters: connection, kindness, and shared experiences. In the end, Stoic reflections on loss offer a path through the pain of grief and hardship. By embracing the reality of life's impermanence and practicing acceptance, we can reduce the emotional burden of loss and transform it into a powerful tool for growth. Through this practice, we learn to find peace even in the midst of sorrow, gaining strength through acceptance and resilience. And in doing so, we create a life that is filled with more peace, purpose, and gratitude, regardless of the challenges we face. Having delved into the practice of reflecting on life's impermanence and the transformative power of accepting loss, another powerful Stoic technique comes into play to help us navigate stress: the view from above. This unique meditation practice invites us to step outside our immediate concerns and observe our challenges from a broader, detached perspective. It is a technique that helps us break free from the overwhelming grip of stress, enabling us to see life's problems not as insurmountable obstacles, but as part of a much larger, ever-unfolding journey. In moments of stress, it is easy to become consumed by the details of the situation. We are often so deeply involved in our problems that we lose sight of the bigger picture. We become attached to the immediate emotions of frustration, anxiety, or fear, and these feelings cloud our judgment. The view from above offers a solution. By mentally stepping outside of our personal situation, we gain distance from our stressors and can approach them with a clearer, more objective mindset. This simple yet powerful Stoic meditation allows us to detach from the emotional intensity of the moment, helping us respond to challenges with greater calm, perspective, and wisdom. The beauty of this technique lies in its ability to shift our perspective. In the midst of stress, we often forget that our problems are just one small piece of a much larger picture. The Stoics believed that taking a step back, both physically and mentally, allowed us to regain clarity. By visualizing ourselves rising above the situation, we stop identifying with the problem itself and instead see it as just another moment in the grand scheme of life. This detachment creates space for calm, allowing us to act with greater clarity and control. The first step in practicing the view from above is to acknowledge the emotional weight of the stressor without judgment. It's easy to become lost in the storm of emotions, but the Stoics taught us that awareness is the first step toward change. Once we acknowledge our feelings, we can begin the process of mentally detaching from them. Imagine yourself stepping back from your current situation, rising above it, and observing it from a higher vantage point. As you mentally distance yourself from the problem, allow yourself to see it from a broader perspective, like a bird looking down at a scene from the sky. This shift in perspective allows us to view the situation without being overwhelmed by it. From this detached vantage point, we can better assess the nature of the challenge. We begin to see the temporary nature of most of our stresses. What once felt like a crisis begins to look more like a minor obstacle in the context of our entire life. When we elevate our view, we are able to put things into perspective. Most of the things that cause us stress are small in comparison to the vastness of our experiences. This realization helps us regain our emotional balance, reminding us that we have the strength and wisdom to handle whatever life throws our way. One of the primary benefits of this practice is that it helps to break the cycle of overthinking. When we are caught up in a stressful situation, our thoughts often spiral. We become consumed by what-if scenarios and feel trapped in our own mental maze. The view from above provides a mental pause, a moment to stop the mental chatter and create space for clarity. This practice reminds us that we are not defined by our problems, but rather by how we choose to respond to them. As you practice this meditation, you may also begin to notice that your stress levels decrease. The more you use this technique, the more you begin to internalize the lesson that no problem is insurmountable. Stress often arises from the feeling that we are stuck in a situation without a way out. By stepping outside of the moment, we are able to see the situation for what it truly is, a temporary circumstance that will pass. This realization can be incredibly liberating. Instead of feeling trapped, we feel empowered to approach the challenge with a clear mind and a calm heart. The view from above also encourages us to see our challenges in the context of the larger world. The Stoics believed that our individual struggles were part of the larger fabric of life, where each person and each event plays a role in the unfolding of existence. When we rise above our immediate concerns, we are reminded that our problems are part of a larger, interconnected whole. This perspective not only reduces the personal weight of stress, but also fosters a sense of connection to others and to the world around us. We are reminded that we are not alone in facing life's difficulties. Everyone experiences challenges, and these moments of hardship are simply a natural part of the human experience. Furthermore, this practice helps to develop the Stoic virtue of acceptance. By observing our problems from a detached viewpoint, we come to understand that many things in life are outside our control. Rather than fighting against what cannot be changed, we learn to accept it with grace. This doesn't mean resignation or passivity. It means recognizing that the flow of life is constant and that we cannot force the world to meet our expectations. Acceptance brings peace because it frees us from the mental resistance that often exacerbates stress. We are no longer trying to control the uncontrollable. Instead, we focus on how we respond to what happens. The view from above also teaches us that nothing in life is permanent. Stress often arises from our attachment to specific outcomes or situations. We become so focused on achieving a particular result that we lose sight of the fact that circumstances are constantly changing. By practicing this meditation, we begin to internalize the understanding that life's challenges are temporary. Even the most difficult moments eventually pass, and what seems like a major obstacle today may be a distant memory in the future. This awareness helps us let go of the fear of failure and the anxiety of potential loss. Instead of clinging to the illusion of control, we learn to adapt and find peace in the present moment. An important element of this practice is the idea of cosmic perspective. The Stoics believed that by stepping back and seeing life from a broader viewpoint, we could align ourselves with the natural order of the universe. We are part of something much larger than ourselves, and our individual struggles are simply a small part of the great flow of existence. This perspective helps us transcend the smallness of our own concerns and view them as part of a larger, interconnected whole. It also provides a sense of comfort, knowing that we are not isolated in our struggles, but rather part of the grand, unfolding story of life. When you make the view from above a regular part of your meditation practice, you'll begin to notice that stress loses its power over you. The more you practice stepping outside of yourself, the more easily you can detach from stress when it arises. This doesn't mean that you'll never feel stressed again. It means that you'll have the tools to navigate stress with greater clarity and composure. Instead of being swept away by the currents of anxiety, you'll be able to maintain a sense of calm and control no matter what life brings. The technique also helps to foster greater empathy and compassion for others. When we are in the midst of a stressful situation, it can be easy to become self-focused, to believe that our problems are the most important. But the view from above allows us to see beyond our own concerns, reminding us that others are facing their own challenges. This broader perspective encourages us to respond with kindness and understanding, both to ourselves and to others. It helps to build a sense of community and shared experience, making us feel more connected to those around us. As you continue to practice the view from above, you may begin to notice shifts in your perspective. Problems that once seemed overwhelming begin to feel more manageable. You find yourself responding to stress with greater ease and understanding, approaching challenges with a calm and clear mind. This practice doesn't require perfection. It requires consistent effort and an openness to seeing things from a larger perspective. Over time, you'll discover that the view from above becomes a natural part of your approach to life. The more you use this Stoic technique, the more resilient you become in the face of life's challenges, and the more peaceful you become in navigating the stresses of the world. In conclusion, the view from above is a transformative meditation practice that allows us to detach from stress and see our problems with greater clarity. By regularly stepping outside of ourselves and observing our circumstances from a higher perspective, we reduce the emotional intensity of stress and open ourselves up to a more measured, composed response. This practice helps us recognize the temporary nature of most of our challenges and fosters a sense of peace that remains steady amidst life's fluctuations. As we continue to use this technique, we become better equipped to handle stress and more aligned with a sense of tranquility that is grounded in perspective and acceptance. After taking a step back to view your challenges from a higher perspective and embracing the Stoic principles that help you detach from stress, the next crucial step in building lasting resilience is to prepare your mind from the very start of each day. How you begin your morning can have a profound impact on how you navigate the rest of your day. For the Stoics, setting the right intentions and grounding yourself in mindfulness from the moment you wake up was essential to building the mental and emotional strength needed to face the inevitable challenges ahead. By incorporating Stoic morning meditation practices, you can equip yourself with the calm, clarity, and focus needed to face the day with resilience. The key to Stoic morning meditation is starting each day with intention and mental clarity. Too often, we rush through our mornings without giving our minds the time to settle and prepare for the day ahead. Instead of diving straight into work or the day's responsibilities, the Stoics encouraged us to pause, reflect, and reset. By doing so, we can set a steady tone for the day, helping us to combat stress, reduce anxiety, and approach challenges with a calm mindset. When you wake up, the first step is to take a moment of stillness. As soon as you open your eyes, resist the urge to jump out of bed and start the daily grind. Instead, take a few deep breaths and center yourself in the present moment. Acknowledging your breath as you take each inhale and exhale is a simple yet powerful way to bring your focus back to the now. This intentional pause before you start your day allows you to release any lingering thoughts or distractions from the night before. You are not just physically waking up. This is a moment to mentally reset and prepare for what lies ahead. One of the most important elements of Stoic morning meditation is setting your intentions for the day. The Stoics believed that how we respond to external events is entirely within our control, even if the events themselves are not. By starting your day with a clear sense of purpose, you align your actions with your values, and prepare yourself for whatever comes. You are not a passive participant in your day, but an active creator of how you engage with life's circumstances. To set your intentions, take a moment to reflect on the core Stoic principles. Control what you can, accept what you cannot, and focus on living virtuously. Think about the challenges you might face throughout the day, whether it's a difficult conversation, a stressful project, or unexpected obstacles. Acknowledge these potential stresses, but instead of fearing them, remind yourself that your response is what matters most. You are in control of your thoughts, your actions, and your reactions. By setting this intention of self-mastery, you mentally prepare yourself to face each challenge with calm and composure. In your morning reflection, it's also important to remind yourself of the impermanence of life. As we learned from the Stoics, each day is a gift, and we are never guaranteed tomorrow. This reminder helps you to approach the day with gratitude, making it easier to see the value in even the most mundane or stressful tasks. Recognizing the fleeting nature of time helps us prioritize what truly matters. It gives us a sense of urgency to live according to our values and to make the most of the time we have today, rather than putting off important actions for some unknown tomorrow. Another key component of Stoic morning meditation is focusing on your mindset. The Stoics believed that external events do not disturb us, but rather it is our judgments about them that cause us stress. So, as you start your day, mentally prepare yourself for the unexpected by reminding yourself that challenges, mistakes, and setbacks are not to be feared. They are inevitable parts of life, and they are also opportunities for growth. Rather than dreading what might go wrong, use the morning to build a mindset of acceptance. You will face difficulties, but you will respond to them with resilience. This morning reflection helps to build emotional strength, making it easier to face challenges without becoming overwhelmed. Instead of approaching the day with anxiety about what might happen, you approach it with the calm confidence that no matter what occurs, you have the tools to handle it. It's this mental preparation, this grounding in Stoic principles, that forms the foundation for a peaceful, focused day. An important part of this morning routine is also the practice of gratitude. It can be easy to fall into the trap of focusing on everything that is wrong or everything that is yet to be done, but the Stoics encouraged us to remember what we have. By starting your day with gratitude for the people, experiences, and opportunities that fill your life, you shift your focus from what you lack to what you have. This practice immediately creates a sense of peace and contentment, reducing the anxiety that comes from constantly striving for more. Gratitude helps you see the value in what is, rather than focusing on what could be. In addition to gratitude, the Stoics practiced the art of negative visualization, a technique that may seem counterintuitive but has profound benefits for managing stress. This practice involves briefly imagining the loss of the things or people you cherish. This is not meant to be morbid, but rather to deepen your appreciation for what you currently have. By contemplating the possibility of loss, you develop a greater sense of gratitude and reduce the fear of losing what you hold dear. This practice helps you approach each day with a sense of detachment, knowing that you cannot control the future, but you can control your mindset and your response to it. Stoic morning meditation also includes reflecting on your actions and virtues. Each day presents opportunities to act with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, the four cardinal Stoic virtues. As you prepare for the day ahead, think about how you can embody these virtues in your actions. What does it mean to be wise in your decision-making today? How can you act with courage in the face of fear or discomfort? Reflect on the ways you can be just in your interactions with others and how you can practice moderation in your behavior. This morning reflection helps to align your actions with your values, ensuring that you live according to your highest principles. Another vital part of the Stoic morning routine is setting boundaries. In the fast-paced world we live in, it can be easy to get swept up in other people's expectations, to overcommit, or to take on too many responsibilities. The Stoics encouraged us to recognize that we cannot do everything and that our time and energy are limited. By setting clear boundaries at the start of the day, you ensure that you prioritize your mental and emotional well-being. This is not about avoiding responsibility, but about being mindful of how you allocate your time and energy, ensuring that you invest in what truly matters. By integrating these Stoic practices into your morning routine, you build the foundation for a day of calm, purpose, and resilience. You are not rushing into the day with scattered thoughts or anxiety about what lies ahead. Instead, you are approaching each moment with clarity and intention, ready to handle any challenges that come your way. This focus on intentionality and mindfulness helps you combat stress from the very beginning of your day, reducing the mental clutter that can otherwise accumulate and create tension. As the day unfolds, the mindfulness you've cultivated in the morning continues to guide you. You respond to challenges with a sense of calm, knowing that you have mentally prepared for them. When difficulties arise, you are less likely to react impulsively or be consumed by stress. Instead, you approach each moment with the Stoic mindset of accepting what you cannot control and focusing on what you can. Incorporating Stoic meditation into your morning routine does not require hours of practice. Even just a few minutes of focused intention, reflection, and mindfulness can have a profound impact on your day. By setting aside this time for self-care and mental preparation, you are investing in your long-term peace and resilience. The more you practice this routine, the more natural it becomes to maintain calm and clarity throughout your day, regardless of the challenges that arise. Ultimately, Stoic morning meditation helps you start each day with purpose, strength, and inner peace. By embracing this practice, you build a solid foundation for facing life's challenges with grace and wisdom. It is in these small, consistent practices that you cultivate lasting resilience, allowing you to navigate the ups and downs of life with a steady mind and a focused heart. Having established the power of starting your day with clarity and intention through Stoic morning meditation, another equally transformative practice can help you close the day with peace and a clear mind. Journaling. It's easy to carry the weight of unresolved thoughts and emotions into the night, especially after a busy, stressful day. This build-up of mental clutter can prevent you from relaxing and hinder your ability to sleep well. The Stoics, understanding the importance of mental clarity, used journaling as a tool for self-reflection and emotional release. Through this practice, they could process their day, offload stress, and approach the night with a tranquil mind. Journaling, when practiced with Stoic principles, allows you to reflect on your thoughts, challenges, and emotions, helping you clear your mind and release the anxieties of the day before bed. One of the core Stoic principles underlying this practice is the idea of self-awareness. In our fast-paced lives, it's easy to go through the motions without pausing to reflect on what we've experienced or how we've reacted. The Stoics understood that without self-reflection, we lose the opportunity to learn and grow. Journaling offers a space for this reflection, allowing you to gain insight into your emotional responses, behaviors, and thoughts. This process not only brings awareness to your actions, but also provides a space to release the emotional weight that may be hindering your peace. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to sit quietly and reflect on the events, challenges, and emotions you've experienced. This is your time to release the mental clutter that accumulates during the day. The simple act of writing down your thoughts and feelings can serve as a cathartic release, helping to reduce the stress and anxiety that may have built up. By putting your thoughts on paper, you externalize them, distancing yourself from the mental chaos and gaining perspective on your emotions. In this journaling practice, it's important to be honest with yourself. The Stoics did not shy away from uncomfortable truths. They encouraged deep self-honesty and the courage to face difficult emotions. So, when you write in your journal, don't filter your thoughts. If you're feeling frustrated, anxious, or angry, acknowledge these emotions. By giving them a voice, you begin to untangle them and prevent them from lingering in your mind. This process of writing down your feelings allows you to recognize them without becoming overwhelmed by them. The Stoic practice of self-examination can guide your journaling. After reflecting on your day, take time to ask yourself some Stoic-inspired questions. Did I respond to challenges with patience and wisdom today? Where did I let external events disturb my peace? How could I have acted differently in certain situations? This level of self-inquiry helps you learn from each day, grow from your mistakes, and celebrate your successes. It also enables you to clear your mind of any regrets or frustrations, releasing them as you prepare for rest. Journaling also provides a space for gratitude. The Stoics practiced gratitude not as a way to avoid difficult emotions, but as a means to shift their focus toward what was good in their lives. Ending your day with gratitude can help reframe your thoughts and make room for positive emotions, even if your day wasn't perfect. By writing down what you are thankful for, you create a sense of balance in your mind. Gratitude is a powerful tool for reducing anxiety, as it forces you to look for the positives in life rather than dwelling on the negatives. Another Stoic practice to incorporate into your journaling is the concept of control and acceptance. Reflect on the things that happened during the day that were outside of your control. Did you spend time stressing over things you could not change? If so, journaling offers you a chance to release that frustration and let go of the need for control. By writing down what was beyond your influence, you practice acceptance, acknowledging that these things are not worth your emotional energy. You can then refocus on what you do control, your reactions, your mindset, and your choices. Journaling, in a Stoic sense, also serves as a tool for cultivating virtue. The Stoics believed that virtue, the practice of living in accordance with wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, was the ultimate good. When you journal, reflect on how you embodied these virtues throughout your day. Were you wise in your decision-making? Did you act courageously in the face of fear? Were you just in your dealings with others? By holding yourself accountable to these virtues in your journal, you set a standard for how you want to live and begin to recognize areas where you can improve. This process of continuous reflection and self-improvement helps alleviate stress because it shifts your focus from external pressures to internal growth. The act of journaling before bed creates a boundary between your day's worries and your time for rest. This process of releasing the day's burdens prevents your thoughts from swirling uncontrollably as you try to sleep. Instead, you are left with a sense of closure for the day, knowing that you have processed your emotions and gained perspective on what happened. This sense of closure is essential for relaxation and helps you approach the next day with a clear mind. Additionally, journaling allows you to externalize and organize your thoughts. Often, when we try to manage stress or anxiety in our heads, it feels like a jumbled mess. Writing down your thoughts helps you make sense of them. It's not about writing a perfect reflection, but about allowing your mind to pour itself onto paper. Once your thoughts are written down, you can look at them objectively and sort through what is worth your attention and what can be left behind. This process of mental decluttering not only relieves stress, but also prepares you for better rest. For some, journaling may include writing about their goals or their intentions for the future. The Stoics were often concerned with setting clear, meaningful intentions, and journaling is a great space to reflect on this. By writing down your personal goals or aspirations, you reinforce a sense of purpose. Rather than worrying about what you haven't achieved, you focus on what you have accomplished and where you want to go next. This practice fosters a sense of progress and reduces stress because you shift your focus to growth and positive action. By practicing Stoic journaling regularly, you begin to notice that your emotional responses to stress become more manageable. The constant mental chatter, the overthinking, and the worry that can keep you up at night lose their hold over you. Through the act of journaling, you externalize your anxieties, give them structure, and release their emotional power. You gain clarity on what truly matters and learn to let go of the unnecessary concerns that drain your energy. Stoic journaling helps you build a foundation of resilience. Every day, through writing, you have the opportunity to process difficult emotions and respond with greater wisdom. The act of journaling creates a daily practice of mindfulness, encouraging you to live intentionally and to reflect on your growth. It offers you the space to be honest with yourself, to examine your actions, and to celebrate the progress you've made. Over time, this practice not only helps reduce stress, but it also transforms the way you approach life's challenges, calm, clear, and ready to handle whatever comes your way. In the end, Stoic journaling is not just about releasing stress at the end of the day. It's about taking control of your mental state and cultivating the clarity and peace needed to navigate life's challenges. It is a practice of self-awareness, acceptance, gratitude, and growth, allowing you to approach each day with greater resilience and a clearer mind. By integrating this practice into your nightly routine, you create the space for a more peaceful, focused life, one that is grounded in the Stoic principles of mindfulness and self-reflection. Having explored how journaling can help you release stress and reflect on your day, there's a deeper, more pervasive source of anxiety that many people face: social interactions. The pressure of engaging with others, whether in personal or professional settings, can often trigger feelings of nervousness, self-doubt, or discomfort. Social anxiety, while common, can be debilitating, making it difficult to navigate even the simplest of conversations. The Stoics, however, had a unique approach to this challenge, one that allows us to approach social dynamics with confidence, ease, and calm. By applying Stoic meditation practices, we can reduce the anxiety that often arises in social situations, freeing ourselves from the fear of judgment and expectation. The Stoic perspective on social interactions centers on the idea that our true worth is not defined by how others perceive us. Social anxiety often arises from a fear of judgment, rejection, or the need to meet certain standards set by society or by ourselves. We worry about making the right impression, saying the right things, or acting in ways that others will find acceptable. But the Stoics taught us that external opinions are beyond our control, and attaching our self-worth to them only leads to unnecessary stress. Instead, they encouraged us to focus on our own actions, thoughts, and character, knowing that how we choose to engage with others is within our control. One of the most important Stoic teachings in overcoming social anxiety is the practice of detachment from external validation. In social situations, we often place too much importance on how others view us, thinking that their approval will validate our worth. The Stoics rejected this idea, believing that true fulfillment comes from living according to our virtues, not through the approval of others. By shifting our focus away from the need for external validation, we can enter social situations with greater ease, knowing that we don't need to seek approval to feel worthy. This practice helps reduce the anxiety that arises from trying to conform to others' expectations. Another Stoic practice that helps manage social anxiety is mindfulness, or the ability to stay present in the moment. Social anxiety often stems from worrying about what might happen in a conversation or what others might think of us. This constant focus on the future or on imagined judgments pulls us away from the present moment, making us more anxious and self-conscious. Stoic meditation helps bring us back to the present, allowing us to focus on what is actually happening in the interaction, rather than getting lost in the what-ifs. When we practice mindfulness, we are able to listen more attentively, speak more clearly, and engage more fully, without the distractions of self-doubt or worry. To practice Stoic mindfulness in social situations, start by taking a deep breath before engaging with others. This simple act of pausing allows you to center yourself and focus on the present moment. As you engage in the conversation, focus on the other person's words, body language, and emotions. Instead of worrying about how you are being perceived, focus on being genuinely present with them. This shift in focus takes the pressure off yourself and helps you relax into the interaction. Over time, this practice will help you feel more at ease in social settings, reducing the anxiety that often comes with anticipating judgment or rejection. The Stoics also emphasize the importance of self-control in social situations. When we feel anxious, we often respond by either avoiding social interactions altogether or overcompensating by trying too hard to please others. Both of these reactions stem from an underlying fear of not measuring up. The Stoic approach encourages us to respond to social situations with balance and composure. Instead of acting out of fear or insecurity, we can choose to engage with others in a calm and measured way. This does not mean suppressing our emotions or pretending to be someone we're not. Rather, it's about acting in accordance with our values, regardless of how others may react. One effective Stoic technique for reducing anxiety in social interactions is to mentally rehearse the conversation before it happens. This practice, known as premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, involves mentally preparing for the challenges that may arise in the interaction. By thinking through potential outcomes and preparing yourself for different responses, you reduce the fear of the unknown. You also gain a sense of control, knowing that you are ready for whatever may come. This preparation helps you feel more confident and reduces the anxiety that comes from fear of uncertainty. Furthermore, the Stoics taught the importance of accepting that we cannot control how others respond to us. Social anxiety often arises from the fear that others will judge us or reject us. However, by practicing Stoic acceptance, we recognize that we cannot control others' opinions or reactions. We can only control our own actions and reactions. This understanding frees us from the need to please everyone or to meet their expectations. When we accept that others may not always respond as we wish, We release the pressure of trying to control the outcome of the interaction. In the Stoic tradition, it is also important to embrace vulnerability. Social anxiety often stems from the fear of showing our true selves, fearing that we will be judged or misunderstood. However, the Stoics believed that living authentically, in accordance with our values, is the key to true peace and fulfillment. By embracing vulnerability, we allow ourselves to be seen as we truly are, without the need for masks or facades. This act of authenticity reduces the anxiety that comes from pretending to be someone we're not, and it builds deeper, more meaningful connections with others. Another helpful Stoic practice for overcoming social anxiety is the focus on the idea of cosmopolitanism. The Stoics believed that we are all part of a greater whole, interconnected as members of the human family. This belief helps to shift our focus away from the individual, personal anxieties we have in social situations and toward a broader sense of unity. By remembering that we are all human, that everyone faces challenges, and that we are all learning and growing together, we can reduce the pressure we place on ourselves. Social interactions become less about individual performance and more about sharing experiences and understanding one another. The Stoics also practiced the idea of amor fati, the love of fate. In the context of social anxiety, this means accepting whatever happens in the interaction, whether it meets our expectations or not. If a conversation goes well, we accept it with gratitude. If it doesn't go as planned, we accept that too, knowing that it is all part of life's process. This acceptance helps reduce the fear of failure or rejection, allowing us to approach each social situation with a sense of openness and freedom. Instead of fearing the outcome, we learn to love the experience itself, regardless of how it unfolds. In addition, the Stoics taught that self-judgment is a major source of anxiety. We often create pressure for ourselves by expecting perfection in social interactions. We worry about saying the wrong thing, making a mistake, or failing to make a good impression. The Stoic practice encourages us to stop judging ourselves so harshly. By recognizing that we are human and that mistakes and imperfections are part of our journey, we reduce the pressure we place on ourselves to be perfect in every social interaction. This shift in mindset allows us to engage with others more freely, without the burden of self-criticism. Finally, the Stoics recognize the importance of self-compassion in overcoming anxiety. When we approach social situations with compassion for ourselves, we reduce the pressure to perform or to meet expectations. We give ourselves the grace to be imperfect, knowing that each interaction is an opportunity for learning and growth. By practicing self-compassion, we create a safe space for ourselves to be vulnerable, authentic, and present in social situations, rather than being consumed by the fear of judgment. As you continue to practice Stoic meditation for social anxiety, you will notice that these tools become more natural. The more you engage in these reflective and mindful practices, the more confident and at ease you will feel in social interactions. Stoic meditation helps you develop a resilient mindset, where you are no longer controlled by the fear of judgment or rejection. Instead, you learn to navigate social dynamics with grace, calm, and authenticity, making your interactions more meaningful and fulfilling. Having learned the transformative power of Stoic meditation in overcoming anxiety in social situations, we now turn to the wisdom of one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, Marcus Aurelius. His writings offer a deep well of guidance on how to handle the internal turbulence that often accompanies nighttime. The peace of sleep is something that many people struggle to find as the mind races with the worries of the day, and the uncertainties of the future. Yet, Marcus Aurelius, through his reflections, provides us with timeless insights that can help us release the anxieties of the day and enter the night with a sense of calm and inner peace. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often wrote about the importance of controlling our thoughts and staying grounded in the present moment. His teachings encourage us to confront and manage the stress and worries that arise, especially as the day winds down. His reflections are not just philosophical musings, they are practical tools designed to help us navigate life's challenges with composure. One of the key elements of his wisdom is the recognition that our thoughts, not external events, often determine the level of our anxiety. By changing how we view and frame our thoughts, we can cultivate a state of inner peace. A central theme in Marcus Aurelius's writings is the practice of self-reflection. Before bed, he would reflect on his actions and thoughts, examining whether he had lived according to his values and virtues. This process allowed him to release any negative emotions or regrets from the day. Journaling, in this sense, is a Stoic meditation that aligns with Marcus's approach. Before sleep, take time to reflect on your day, acknowledging both the things you did well and the areas where you could have acted differently. By doing so, you release any lingering tension or guilt, knowing that you have the opportunity to grow and learn from every experience. This practice helps you leave behind the mental clutter of the day, preparing your mind for restful sleep. Marcus also frequently reminded himself that his thoughts were his own to control, even if external events were beyond his power. In his meditations, he would often return to the idea that we cannot control the actions of others or the course of life itself. However, we can control our thoughts and reactions. By focusing on this truth, he trained his mind to stay calm, even in the face of adversity. This mindset is especially helpful at night, when our thoughts can become more intense, amplified by the quiet stillness around us. When anxiety about the past or future arises, Marcus' wisdom reminds us to focus on the present moment. We cannot change the past, nor can we predict the future. The only thing we truly have is the present, and it is in this space that we can find peace. To further cultivate this calm, Marcus Aurelius often turned to the concept of accepting what comes, no matter how difficult. He accepted that life was full of hardships and that challenges were a natural part of existence. Instead of resisting or fearing these difficulties, he embraced them as opportunities for growth. This Stoic practice of acceptance can be particularly beneficial when we struggle with nighttime anxiety. Rather than resisting the thoughts that keep us awake or worrying about what the future holds, we can accept these thoughts as they come, understanding that they are temporary and part of the natural ebb and flow of life. By accepting this, we free ourselves from the cycle of worry and stress that often interferes with our ability to rest. One of Marcus's most powerful teachings is the idea of impermanence, the recognition that everything, both good and bad, is temporary. This perspective is deeply comforting when faced with anxiety at night. Stress often arises from the feeling that things will never change or that our current struggles will last forever. However, by reflecting on the impermanent nature of all things, we can release the fear of permanence in our problems. Just as the sun sets and rises again, our difficulties too will pass. This insight allows us to let go of the weight of our worries, knowing that they are part of the natural cycle of life. Understanding that nothing lasts forever provides a sense of relief and ease, especially when trying to quiet the mind before sleep. Marcus also emphasized the importance of living in accordance with nature. He wrote about the need to align our actions and thoughts with the natural order of the universe. This principle can be applied to our nighttime routine by recognizing that, just as the body needs rest, the mind needs time to quiet and recharge. By honoring the natural need for sleep, we give ourselves permission to stop thinking, to let go of the day's burdens, and to allow our minds to rest. The Stoic practice of living in accordance with nature helps us to see sleep as a necessary and restorative process rather than something we should resist or feel guilty about. Another of Marcus's key insights is the importance of mindfulness in every aspect of life. He believed that by remaining present in each moment, we could avoid unnecessary stress. Before going to bed, it is useful to practice mindfulness by focusing on your breath, body, and surroundings. This technique brings your attention away from intrusive thoughts and grounds you in the current moment. Mindfulness also helps you release the grip of overthinking, which is often the root cause of nighttime anxiety. By simply focusing on the breath or a calming sensation in your body, you allow your mind to relax and naturally shift away from stress. In addition to mindfulness, Marcus frequently reflected on the value of reason. He believed that rational thinking could help us navigate even the most challenging of situations. When nighttime anxiety arises, it's easy to get swept up in irrational thoughts or fears. However, by applying reason to these thoughts, we can challenge their validity. Marcus encouraged us to recognize when our thoughts are out of alignment with reason and to bring ourselves back to a rational perspective. For example, if anxiety about the future arises, we can remind ourselves that our fears are often based on uncertainties, not on actual facts. By applying this Stoic approach to reason, we can break free from the grip of irrational fears that disturb our peace before sleep. Marcus Aurelius' practice of self-discipline also provides valuable guidance for managing anxiety at night. In his writings, he often reminded himself of the importance of controlling his impulses and emotions. This control is especially useful when it comes to managing nighttime worries. Instead of letting anxiety or stress dictate your emotional state, you can consciously choose to practice mental discipline. By recognizing that you have the power to control your thoughts, you can redirect your mind away from worry and toward calm. This practice of mental discipline strengthens your ability to manage anxiety and sleep peacefully. Another aspect of Marcus's teachings that can help with nighttime anxiety is the concept of indifference to external events. He encouraged us to view everything that happens as either preferred or not preferred, but not to let these things disturb our inner peace. This idea can be particularly helpful when dealing with the stress of daily life that creeps into the mind before sleep. By practicing indifference, we remind ourselves that external events are not worth our emotional energy. What matters is how we respond to them. This Stoic principle helps us detach from the stress of daily life, allowing us to approach the night with a sense of calm and tranquility, knowing that tomorrow will come with its own challenges. Finally, Marcus Aurelius regularly reflected on his own mortality. He believed that by contemplating death, we could put our problems into perspective. When nighttime anxiety threatens to keep us awake, we often get consumed by the small, fleeting worries of life. However, when we remind ourselves of the inevitable nature of death, we can see these worries for what they are, temporary and inconsequential in the grand scope of life. This practice of contemplating death helps to shift our perspective and release the stress tied to insignificant fears. By remembering that our time is limited, we are reminded of the importance of focusing on what truly matters, letting go of the trivial anxieties that keep us from experiencing peace before bed. Marcus Aurelius's reflections provide a timeless guide for managing nighttime anxiety and stress. By applying his Stoic principles, self-reflection, acceptance, mindfulness, reason, discipline, indifference, and the contemplation of mortality, we can release the weight of the day and approach sleep with a sense of calm. His teachings remind us that we are in control of our thoughts and responses, and by practicing these Stoic techniques, we can transform our relationship with stress, finding peace even in the face of life's challenges. As we've journeyed through the powerful world of Stoic sleep meditation, we've learned how to release the stress and anxiety that often weigh us down at night. From embracing stillness through silent meditation to cultivating inner calm and letting go of external validation, each practice we've explored helps us quiet the mind and prepare for restful sleep. By reflecting on life's impermanence, accepting uncertainty, and detaching from anxiety, we've built the foundation for a peaceful, restorative sleep, free from the mental clutter of the day. Now it's your turn to implement these Stoic techniques and experience the transformation yourself. Take a few minutes each night to meditate, reflect, and allow your mind to rest. As you do, remember that you hold the power to change your mindset and create the peace you seek. If this video resonated with you, I'd love to hear how you plan to incorporate Stoic meditation into your nightly routine. Leave a comment below and share your thoughts, or tell us which Stoic practice you're most excited to try. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can continue exploring more powerful Stoic teachings and practical mindfulness tips. Your journey to inner peace begins now. Let's walk it together.